This week, it's all things PlayStation. Hashtag not fanboys. Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 259 of the It's Obvious podcast. My name's Garrett Drake, joined online by Jacob Alka.
Good morning, gentlemen.
And Preston. Yeah? Praise all here.
Good morning.
My dog freaks out every time I do that. It's good to see you guys. It's been a minute since we've done this podcast, at least 3 weeks, if not a month, which is a crying shame. And frankly, I'm embarrassed. Buddy. It's okay. Wrangling a big Oreo flavored tiger this morning as I'm trying to podcast. Gentlemen, how are you?
Been doing well. Starting to feel better. For those that don't know, I had a surgery 2 Thursdays ago, but starting to feel pretty normal again. And, just ready to get back to it. Ready to get back to the grind of things. But how about you guys?
Go in depth on this operation here. Like, take us on the journey of, not too much detail, but I'm curious what your hospital experience was like, how you felt when you woke up, and what the recovery's been like so far. Because this is like, I had a hernia scare when I was in high school, so I didn't have to actually go through with an operation because it was a false alarm. But for someone who has now lived through the operation of fixing a hernia, what has that been like? Because you lived with it for a while before you had the surgery.
Oh yeah, I've lived with it since probably July or August, I think. When it wasn't that big of a deal. I remember when it first started to get bigger, it was a little obtrusive because it was a little, like, it burned a little bit. But over time, like, I didn't even know it was there. But regardless, I wanted to get it taken care of because they can get bigger and bigger, the older you get and the more you physically assert yourself doing, like, physical activities and stuff. So I went ahead and got it taken care of a couple weeks ago. And they put me under anesthesia. It was done in, the whole surgery took like 30 minutes. It was nothing. But I got to the hospital at like 7 in the morning, and I didn't leave until 3 in the afternoon. I could have left at noon, but I could not pee. Like, I just couldn't pee. And they can't let you leave when you have intestinal surgery until you actually go to the bathroom. Or otherwise, they'll stick a catheter in you, which they did not. They did not have to do that, thankfully.
Oh, praise the Lord.
But it was sort of treading down those lines for a while. I was like, God, I don't want to do this.
Pee, man, come on, pee.
And that's what I was telling myself in the bathroom. It's like, please work. I'm only 28. Why can't this work?
Let me ask you this real quick, Jacob. Before you went into the operating room, did they give you the drug that, like, makes you relax before you go in there?
Yes.
They put it in your IV? Dude, that is the best.
It is, yeah.
'Cause they'll put that stuff in you, dude, and you'll straight up be like, dude, freaking cut my head off. I don't care.
Yeah, they put that in there. They hooked me up to that before I was even in the operation room. Like, I had it wheeling with me as I was going in.
Yeah, it is the best feeling.
And then they put that thing on your...
You could straight up be like, dude, cut off my arms for all I care. I feel great.
Yeah, but then like 1 or 2 minutes after the anesthesia, like, on my mouth, I was out. Like, I don't even remember falling asleep.
Yeah, I'd love to hear some stories from Edgar Herrera. I don't know if he still listens to the podcast, but he's an anesthesiologist. Excuse me, my pronunciation's awful. Anesthesiologist. I think that's how you say it. I bet he has some stories for sure. Mm-hmm. That's like a major job in the operating room too. I mean, if you screw that up, like, it's over.
Yeah, it's definitely the person being operated on is in for a world of pain.
I'd be lying if I said I did not think of Awake. I think it's called Awake with Hayden Christensen every time I go in for surgery, which thankfully has been minimal. But that movie the idea of that is truly horrific. Yeah.
Speaking of that, I kind of had like the pre-surgery jitters. Like, I was actually really nervous. Like, the morning of, I was like, man, I hope I'm going to be okay. Like, and, like the complications in the surgery are so low. Like, it's not going to happen. But it was just like, I don't know. I feel like everyone gets nervous to it a little bit of an extent. I mean,
think about it, dude. Like, human beings, it's like being abducted by aliens and experimented on. They're knocking you out and cutting you open and digging around inside you.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone who is not afraid of that is, more power to them, but that's terrifying to think about.
Yeah. But all things considered, it went well. But because of the surgery, I have not been doing really much of anything, and it's been kind of driving me insane. I've been spending a lot of time in this here space that I'm in currently, laying down, playing a little bit of WoW once I could, sit upright and not have to lay down all the time.
What'd you do when you were laying down the whole time?
Watched a lot of shows, watched anime, played a lot of Persona. That's mainly it. I've been reading too. Lots of reading.
Cool.
And,
Did you finish
and
Green
sleeping.
Lights?
Did I finish what?
Green Light?
Green Light. I did. Yeah, I did
Nice.
actually.
How'd you feel about it?
It was fantastic. I think it's one of those books that pretty much anybody can find value out of, no matter what sort of step in life you are in. And
Cool.
it really helped me get to know Matthew McConaughey better, obviously, because it's his book. But I don't know. It's like I've always been sort of fascinated about the man behind that name, and like he's the bourbon guy, he's the Lincoln guy, but it's kind of cool how like seeing where that guy came from and sort of how he ended up there.
Totally. Dude, quick side story on McConaughey real quick.
Sure.
I thought it just blew my mind. So between September of last year and like mid-November, right before Thanksgiving, I had a short-term contract with a production company called PullSpark.
Mm-hmm.
So I was working with them full-time for a few months. And they do video content as well, but they specialize in live event production. And they kind of thrived through the pandemic because so many live events were obviously canceled, but were restructured as digital live events. So they were just in the right place at the right time to make this happen. So they were working with some relatively big people. Like we worked with Steve Harvey once. What's his name? The author, John
Wick.
I can't remember his last name, but he's a big time author. But a bunch of different interesting people we did live events for. But of course, I'm like super happy for him too. It's so cool. But my contract ended, and just this past month in February, they did a live event for McConaughey, the Texas benefit show. They produced that entire show.
That's cool.
And they coordinated with McConaughey, like obviously weeks in advance before they all went out to Texas and made it happen. But one of the main producers at PullSpark, her name's Kristen, is like one of the kindest, most professional and talented people I've ever met in my life. And I knew that even when she was doing like the smaller events while I was working with them. But she supposedly had these 4-hour Zoom calls multiple times with McConaughey, one-on-one, like script writing this show. And she's in the credits as being one of the main it's just McConaughey and her as the script writers for the show. Yeah. It just blew my mind. I was working with these people, and then they put on this live event for McConaughey in Texas, and they hung out with him for a while. I thought it was just like super cool.
Was that the same event that Post Malone sang country songs?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing I know about it.
That's just what was wild to me, is that there's still like a relatively young, small company. And out of all the production companies in the entire world, I mean, I know McConaughey's not like the biggest star in the world, but he's like pretty big. I mean, he's an Oscar winner too. Mm-hmm. That they worked with PullSpark out of everyone they could have worked with is just insane to me.
Mm-hmm. I think he got really big after The Big Short, I believe, is when really things started taking off for him.
Yeah. I mean, obviously he had like the big or pretty long-term like romantic comedy route he did.
Yeah.
And then he slowly transitioned into more of his current like dramatic stuff, like True Detective season 1. He's incredible. Mm-hmm. Dallas Buyers Club. He's phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
What else has he been in recently that's really, really good?
I
think Mud is an underrated hit.
Yeah.
I think he's excellent in Mud.
Briefly, he was in, what's that Leonardo movie? The
Wolf of Wall Street?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, yeah, that bit he has in that.
Yeah, that was entirely him. Like, that was off script.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what he did in that movie.
Outstanding.
Yeah. According to him.
Yeah, I love him in Sahara, too. I mean, I think that's basically Uncharted, the movie, before Uncharted with Tom Holland comes out. Yeah. Like, I feel like McConaughey back then was the perfect Nathan Drake, accidentally.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I like his stuff a lot. And
I'm a big fan.
You enjoyed his book. Mm-hmm. I might pick up his book at some point because I've heard a lot of talk about it.
I really recommend it. I just loaned it to my mother, and when she's done, I would be more than happy to let you have it. But
very kind of you, Jacob.
Yeah, but I'm getting excited. I'm sort of like building up a book collection. I've moved on from collecting PS4 games, and now I'm putting books on my shelf.
I admire that, Jacob.
Yeah, it makes me feel good about myself.
I'm a little behind in my reading. I haven't read as much this week. I was pretty busy. It was fun work. I was appreciative of it, but it definitely put my reading on hold for a little while.
That happens.
Yeah. Yeah, I have, I'm hoping there comes a day, I don't even know if at this point if I'll ever retire, which is kind of sad and scary. I'm going to have to teach myself how to invest wisely if I ever plan to retire. But I'm hoping there comes a day where I have nothing but time hope, Lord willing, my old age, that I can just sit down and read this collection of novels I have that I just have no time to read whatsoever. I look forward to that because that's the thing. I love exploring worlds and video games and movies, but books are a whole nother entity in and of themselves because your imagination, you're just creating it on your own. There's nothing to really create it for you. And I miss that. I haven't read like a really great novel since maybe early high school was the last time. So I miss creating worlds in my mind like I did when I was a kid. It's like a great way to stretch and grow your imagination. So I miss that. But
I agree.
Anyway,
I'm a fan.
I'm glad you're recovering well, Jacob. I imagine the silver lining was sort of an extended vacation to just relax and catch up on some stuff.
It has been relaxing. I'll say that. If not like, like I've just been like losing my mind just because I can't really do anything. So like just a few days ago, I started actually walking on a treadmill again. Because like up until a few days ago, these like incisions in my stomach were like really sensitive, so I couldn't really do like any twisting or anything like that. But I'm feeling pretty good now, and my doctor's appointment's on Tuesday, so we'll see what he will allow me to do
Your post-op?
afterwards. Yeah, my post-op.
Are these stitches that just dissolve, or they have to?
Yeah, they're
out?
like the glue stitches that they do from the inside.
What was I going to ask you about that? How's it affected your gains, bro?
Oh, severely. Like I can't work out for like 6 weeks. So
Dang, dude.
I'm gonna be a little twig.
You could just do like even that's the thing though. It's like I was thinking like I have one of those. I don't know what you call it, like a grip, whatever, where you squeeze it with your hands. That like builds your forearms and your grip strength.
I thought about getting.
I
one
think
of those.
even that to an extent would put a strain on your groin if you squeeze hard enough. So I'm thinking about it. I'm like, maybe not. You could at least do that and just build your grip strength.
I have been doing like some very light curls. Like I'll just be sitting down, I'll just curl a dumbbell. But
yeah,
there's not really much I can do.
Beautiful biceps.
I'm trying,
top tier shape.
I mean, it's already been a week and a half, and it feels like an eternity at this point. But we'll get through it. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, I have confidence you will, Jacob. Glad you lived to tell the tale, of course.
Me too. But enough about me. How about you guys?
What about you, Poobah? What's been going on? I know you've been pretty busy.
Yeah, I have. I said a few weeks ago I started another job, and it has got me just insanely busy. So I'm doing that.
Are you enjoying being busy?
I am. Yeah, it's yes. It's I was trying to figure out something to say, but I think yes is probably just the best answer to give for that. Yeah, I thought I'd be able to get some game time in while I was out of town, but this past job I was at, I was just so busy. I was working, all day into the night, every day.
Every day.
Yeah, this past last week. So no time for games. This week has been a little less busy, so I've been able to play a little bit more during the weekday, but mainly my game time has been on the weekends. So it is what it is, but yeah, I can say that I am enjoying this line of work, even though I'm way more busy than my last line of work. So definitely more fulfilling in my overall career goals and my financial goals as well. So it's definitely worth it. But yeah, besides work, nothing else too crazy has been going on with me.
Yeah. Man, I have days where I truly do miss just grinding hard on a job, at least for a short period of time, because there's something fulfilling about just really hunkering down with the boys and getting it done.
Yeah.
Even if it just like exhausts you and destroys you by the end, especially when it's like lucrative financially and everything. It's a fulfilling feeling that I've not had in a while. I mean, the work I do some days require a lot more than others, but recently it's just been a lot of editing and not as many shoot days. So I kind of miss like getting your hands dirty and like physically exerting yourself to get something done.
What's funny is that I, not to get too into what I do for work, but I do like audio video install for the most part in like corporate office buildings for conference rooms and stuff. And I actually, this past job, I didn't really even do any install work. I'm a lead now, so my job is pretty much to just make sure the job is getting done, assign tasks to people, make sure gear is coming, in, make sure things are working, etc., etc. And this
Almost
past
like a producer.
I don't know.
You said it. You're like
Maybe.
the last man standing.
I don't know. I just this last job was just such a colossal just mess with us not having hardly anything that I just sat on my computer and just talked to people the entire time, running around trying to find where like UPS people might have dropped packages while making sure people are doing what they're supposed to be doing, answering questions, etc. Getting home, continuing the discussions of sending emails, writing up tasks for the next day, writing writing the daily reports of what happened that day in depth, etc. So in terms of like getting my hands involved with stuff on the job, it's actually not really, it's hardly happening. It's just making sure everything else is going fine, which is
do you do you miss getting your hands dirty and doing actual
kinda
work?
it's yeah, I do. It's
Because like in a sense you're doing it yourself, so it's going to be how it's supposed to be.
not only that, but it's just like when I have a task, like if I'm set to like finish a rack or terminate these cables or hang a display or something like that, I can just throw in my earbuds and just listen to a podcast, listen to some music, and just focus on that task and not have to worry about anything else. But
time flies too when you're doing that.
yeah, but with my position now, I got to make sure these 4 other guys are doing what they're supposed to do. They're not messing it up, answering any questions they have. Oh, here's like 70 emails from this person. Oh crap, we don't have this. Oh, this is a error on the plans. Is this what they mean? Oh, I got to go talk to the general contractor to make sure this can happen. So it's just like your mind is in like a million different places at this,
That's exhausting, dude.
So yeah, there is no time to just sit down and like, I'm going to finish this task. It's like, no, I have to juggle like 20 different things right now. So I do miss
the realization I've had is like mental exhaustion, I feel like is way worse than physical exhaustion. At least for me it is.
No, I would have to agree because I agree. I felt like I was way more tired after this past week than I usually was when I was the guy just installing the stuff. Even though I'd be working insanely late hours if we had to meet a deadline and stuff. Just the physical tiredness I feel like goes away once you get enough sleep, whereas the mental tiredness like sticks with you for several days. But anyway, enough about my job. I'm sure nobody really cares too much, but yeah, that's what I've been doing. So
wow,
fantastic.
That's brutal. Dude, this is
that's brutal.
This was a disturbing revelation I had recently. There's a content creator, I can't remember his name, but he's incredibly skilled, incredibly talented at what he does, but he does video content, and his day rate is $30,000.
His day rate?
His day rate.
Dear Lord.
So he works a few times a year if he wants, and he's good to go. I was like, that is mind-blowing.
I feel like I know who you're talking about.
I can't remember who it is, but that's a fact. Like, that is his literal day rate. Because someone I know, like a friend of a friend, has worked with him before. And like the majority of budgets go to this dude. 'Cause I guess he's just like a creative genius, apparently, when it comes to creating content. I think he does a lot of like ads with like major companies and stuff. I was like, it makes sense because like you think about any corporation, $30,000 is nothing.
Yeah.
So
I guess anybody could make their day rate whatever they wanted it to be. It's just a matter of if somebody actually hires you or not.
Yeah, if you have the credibility and like your work backs up that day rate. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but
yeah,
kind of made me sad. It's like, dang, dude, like you could work once. I mean, if you really wanted to be crazy, you could work once a year. But I mean, he could literally just work 2 or 3 times a year and be totally fine.
For sure.
Yeah. You could live a minimalist life on $30,000 a year.
Yeah, and I'm probably like undercutting it a bit because I'm sure there's a lot of pre-pro and post-production, a lot of good that goes into it. Just like show up on the day, here's $30,000. Like there's a lot more that goes into it than that. But
anyway,
all things considered, some fat stacks
for sure. You guys want to talk about some games?
Let's talk about some games.
Yes, we could.
So I've been really wanting to talk about some games because it's been a while.
You want to talk about gaming?
I want to talk about games.
Games.
I guess I'll start since I brought it up. So I'm trying to remember what I've been playing since it's been such a long time since we last talked. But I've been playing several different things. Of course, like I always do. I haven't touched Persona Strikers, honestly, because
fake fan.
Yeah, I know, right? It's almost like the same thing with Royal, where I just don't want to finish it. I want to know in the back of my head, like I have this entire other Persona game I can play through, and that's good enough at the moment, just to know that it's there.
I don't know what I'd do if I didn't have one to play.
Yeah, that's why I never finished like Sword Art Online. It's because I just like knowing that I have a lot left to watch. It's just so that just comforts me. I guess.
I understand that. I mean, like when I finished, I was like, man, what do I do now?
Yeah,
it's over.
So, but yeah, that's kind of how I'm treating Strikers. But obviously, I will finish that at some point. But I was in the mood to play some Batman, so I got the seasons pass for Arkham Knight and just kind of wanted to go through some of the DLC content for that game. So I played through all the DLC stuff minus the City of Infamy or whatever it's called, which is the DLC that kind of weaves in other villains in the main story, like Killer Croc, Mad Hatter, I think Penguin might be in it. I don't know. It's a bunch of villains in it, but my save for Arkham Knight is, like on my OG PlayStation, it was never uploaded to the cloud, so I would have to play through the main game again, which I'm not completely opposed to, but right now I'm really not in the mood. I was hoping I could just jump into that content without having to start a brand new game.
What do you mean when you say OG PlayStation?
Like my original PS4.
Okay. I thought you meant like PS1.
Oh, no. My original PS4 that I had originally played.
One of like 12 you had?
Yeah.
Over the course of that generation?
Yeah.
Garrett, it's about to storm outside, by the way, so there might be some thunder in my mic.
Oh, no worries, dude. It'll sound just pretty so badass in the background.
So, yeah, I've mainly just been playing the DLC that you can just jump into from the main menu. I think they call them like Arkham episodes. So I played the Batgirl Matter of Family DLC first, and actually really liked it. I thought the main story wasn't that good, but there's like a side story going on that you can find out like kind of how Joker got this random theme park, and it's a pretty brutal story. It's really dark how the Joker and Harley got a hold of the place that you play in. So yeah, it's probably about like, I think I finished it in like 2 hours maybe, and there were collectibles and I collected all of them and ran around, did everything. So it was about 2 hours. Like I said, I enjoyed it. So I was looking forward to play the rest, and man, was I in for a very disappointing surprise after that, because for the most part the rest of the DLC is, I'm not even going to say it's bad, it's straight up awful for the most part. The Catwoman DLC is some of the worst additional content I think I've ever played for any game. It is just dumb and just completely pointless. It takes place after the main game, and Catwoman's just like, I've got to go to the Riddler's place and steal his money. And
from what I remember, dude, she's kind of like just tossed aside in Arkham Knight completely.
I think if you finish all the Riddler stuff, she comes back. I think that's the entire point of the Riddler stuff, is you're saving her.
Yeah, it's like save Catwoman.
Yeah. So
it's kind of a shame. She was a major player in Arkham City.
Yeah. So you play as Catwoman.
Got the backseat to Poison Ivy in that game.
Yeah. So you play as Catwoman and you fight a bunch of stupid robots, and it's over. It's like a 20-minute DLC. So that was disappointing. The Nightwing DLC was dumb.
Press and I were roasting Nightwing last night from Arkham Knight.
Yeah, his
he's kind of goofy in that game.
Yeah, like I don't know. I know you don't like it. I don't mind his design too much. I just think his animations are really goofy looking. Him and his sticks, just the way he puts them away, his running animation, him not having the ability to glide and stuff. He's just kind of goofy in that game, which sucks because I think Nightwing's awesome. So I would have.
Oh yeah, I love Nightwing as a character.
Yeah. So hopefully.
One quick thing about animations in that game, dude. It's such a subtle difference from the previous two games. But obviously, I just recently played Asylum. I just recently finished City. And jumping into Arkham Knight, and I could go on about animations for a while, but just the one simple one I love to pick out is Batman's walking animation, because he's very upright in the first two games, and he still looks pretty cool, but like he's more hunched over in Arkham Knight, and it just looks so much cooler when you're walking around. It's just like that subtle change in his posture. It makes him look way cooler. And that's something that I guess I'd either overlooked or forgotten about from my initial playthrough. But jumping into Night, I'm like, dude, Batman not only looks way cooler in his new suit, but just his new walking animation looks awesome. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, he definitely looks way cooler than the other games in that armored suit.
Yeah. And that's the thing, too, is like a few weeks ago, we're like, oh, dude, I just want to like mess around with all the different costumes in the game. Like, I still kind of want to do that, but he looks so good in his normal armored costume from the game that I'm like, I just want to wear this. Yeah. It's easily one of the coolest bat suits.
For sure. So yeah, the Nightwing DLC was a disappointment. The what other one was there? I think Robin, that one was better. It was okay. Yeah, that was all the DLC that I played through. And I got through them all in like less than 2 hours. Just super short. Just not worth it. So definitely a massive disappointment. And I remember feeling that exact same way with the DLC from Arkham City, like Harley Quinn's Revenger. I think she captures Batman and you play as Robin to go save him. And I remember that being a major disappointment too. So Rocksteady.
Yeah, they kind of suck in the DLC department.
Maybe they have like a B team doing it while they're focusing on the next big project. But anyways, yeah, so I ran through that, and the majority of my time, the week after our last podcast, was finishing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And I don't want to get too hyperbolic here, but I did finish Valhalla. I did platinum Valhalla.
Fantastic.
And platinuming Valhalla had made me have, how do I say it? I hate Valhalla. I absolutely hate that game. I had the urge to eject the disc from my PS5 and smash it. And I'm not just saying that to be funny. I actually thought about it, and then it hit me like, well, that's stupid. Like, why would you do that? But my like primal thoughts within me wanted to do that. I hate the game. I absolutely hate it. And I don't know if going for the platinum made me hate it, because there were so many trophies that were buggy, and I was trying to get through it so fast that I was encountering so many bugs. I don't even want to give the game talk about it too much because of how much I dislike it. So I'm just trying to give very vague points. I didn't like the story. The 99% of the game is a stupid side missions I don't care about. I don't care about all these characters. The main story, the way they tied it up was okay at best. I ended up just, the combat was just, I don't like it. I don't like Ivor. The whole tie-in with the assassins at the end, I hated that. Yeah, I hate the game. Absolutely hate it. I think
Did
if
you
I
like
just
anything about it?
it was pretty sometimes. I think going for the platinum made me hate it because I had to play this game for like over 100 hours, dude.
That is
and
insane,
I
dude.
was so stubborn to where I had to get it. So I don't know if I just played through the main story and just went through that, if I would probably feel different. But just, dude, stacking those stupid rocks towards the end of the game is some of the most infuriating things I've ever played in my entire life, dude. Because the first stacking, and you know what I'm talking about, right? Those side missions where you like stack the rocks.
No, I never got to that.
Yeah, so they just give you these rocks, and it's like, all right, stack them up to get to this height. And at first, it's like, okay, this is easy. I'm just stack 3 rocks, and I'm done.
Is this like actual gameplay mechanics to stack these rocks?
Yeah, they
like
have this physics system where you like actually pick the
interesting.
rock and you rotate it around. So, like I said, the first couple of puzzles, you just stack them on top of each other. Boom. And you stack them up, and there's physics involved, so you have to angle them right, and there's like a level you have to get them to, and it has to stay there for a couple of seconds, and then you hold a button down to validate it.
I can already see this. I can't imagine you trying to validate. It's just toppling over.
Oh my gosh. So towards the end, dude, you have to stack these rocks. I swear, like 30 feet tall. They give you like 20 rocks. Not really.
That is amazing.
Probably like 5 or 6 rocks. And you have to do them like sideways. So they're all just... It is so infuriating. And this game doesn't end. This game does not end. You go to Asgard at some point, and you do all those quest lines, and then they're like, you think you're done. You've done all the collectibles, and it's like, just kidding. Now you have to go to Jotunheim, and it throws you into this other massive environment. So you've got Norway, you've got England, you've got Asgard, you've got Jotunheim. There's over 700 collectibles in this game, dude. There's all these side quests. I was about
dude,
to
platinuming this game. You let Ubisoft win, dude.
I was about to lose my mind, dude. So anyways, needless to say, I don't want to go too long on this game, but I was just having an absolutely miserable time, and I could not wait for it to be over, so I could never play that game again. I deleted it immediately. It's done. I'm not going back for the DLC. I'm a member of the subreddit, and just like people talking about them being hyped for the next DLC, I was like, F that. Like, Ubisoft this game will never see a cent from me again. I never want to play it again. I never want to install it again. So I'm done with Valhalla. Thankfully, okay. So you would think, with all my disdain for this game, the last thing I would want to do would be to hop back into another Assassin's Creed game, right?
Oh no.
Wrong. So there's a sale going on right now on PlayStation, and the Ezio collection is $10. You can get
I invested as well.
All 3 Ezio games for $10. So I was like, dude, I miss old Assassin's Creed. I miss what Assassin's Creed was. I don't want this Witcher Light crap that just sucks right now. So I downloaded, all those games and bought them, and I was so nostalgic for these games that I'm playing through all of them, dude. I've already platinumed Assassin's Creed 2, and it was a blast. I had so much fun. I don't know if it was due to the nostalgia, but just playing an actual Assassin's Creed game with an actual character that I actually like, running around, assassinating people as an assassin in an Assassin's Creed game is fun, and I miss it. So, so like I said, I straight up platinumed the second game. It wasn't 35,000 hours either. I played it at like the length of a normal game. It was like 10 hours. I got all the trophies under 20 hours. It didn't overstay. Well, okay, I do want to talk about overstaying its welcome a little bit. So, I don't know if you remember in the second game, but there were 2 memories, like 2 sequences, I believe it was 12 and 13, that were corrupted during the original Assassin's Creed 2. And one of them takes there's like a cutoff area of Florence, and there's a whole nother town, I believe it's like in not Tuscany, it's like Florgy somewhere, that you're literally there for 5 seconds during the main game. So there's an entire city, and you just it's pretty much how you get to Venice. You go to this place for like 10 minutes, and then you hop on a boat and go to Venice, and you like really never come back. So they added DLC later that added these 2 extra sequences where you go to the second half of Florence and you actually do missions in this other city. Well, instead of having it as DLC, they put it into the main game. And I will say that these sequences come right as like the climax of the game is coming. So it's like you're about to get to the end. Oh, just kidding. There are 2 sequences where you have to go do this kind of dumb stuff. So I think it does kind of mess with the pace of the game in a negative way, adding these 2 DLC sequences just into the main game. But even with that, they're still not super long. So it just adds like an additional 2 hours probably overall to the main story. But anyways, platinum that game, had a ton of fun. I am playing Brotherhood right now and am having an absolute blast with it, dude. That game, I think, is one of the most underrated Assassin's Creed games. I mean, nobody talks about it. I can't remember people always bring up like Black Flag or 3 or stuff like that, and yeah, those are great games, but nobody talks about Brotherhood, dude. Brotherhood is way better than 2. The combat is better, the parkour is better, the exploring the world is better because you can actually have a horse at all times. The story, I think, is better. The whole adding like the Brotherhood part of the game where you can recruit assassins and send them out on missions, that's just a whole nother, gameplay system that is just fun to have, to mess with. Yeah, I just think it does everything that 2 did good and just makes it better and just adds cooler stuff.
As a good sequel does.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I know
I think the reason why those kind of fly under at least even, I don't want to say Assassin's Creed fans' radars, but many just general gamers' radars, is that Brotherhood and Revelation were the first like pseudo sequels to a single character versus just jumping from like 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
it was like the side stories. I think a lot of people probably just assume like, oh, it's just like a side little dinky game, but that's why I started Brotherhood and I watched Zach play Revelation, but since you got to talking about Valhalla in these games, I also invested and started Brotherhood. So I'm kind of on a nostalgic trip myself because I never finished Brotherhood. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I agree. Even just the initial start at Brotherhood, I had the exact same reaction. Like the first 30 minutes of that game, I was like already engaged way more than I was with Valhalla in the first 2 hours. So
yeah, like
I'm excited to continue.
There's so many just cool missions in Brotherhood 2. Like Leonardo is kind of kidnapped by the Borgia, and he's forced to make these war machines, and you have to go destroy them. So I just did a mission where I like went to this camp and destroyed this machine gun, and there's this entire sequence at the end where like I have to catch up to the escaping wagon with this machine gun, hijack it, take it over, shoot some guys on horses chasing me. I'm playing this game way stealthier than I did. Like I used to kind of crap on these old Assassin's Creed games because you couldn't play them super stealthy, and you can't play them super stealthy, but I didn't give them enough credit in that aspect as well, because you can play them for the most part pretty stealthy. Like I'm using the crossbow a ton, so this is the first Assassin's Creed game where they added that, and you're able to kind of just go up on a rooftop and just like take out a ton of guys without anybody finding out where you are. The gun is way better in Brotherhood. In Assassin's Creed 2, once you get the gun, and it makes sense, you just got the gun, so it takes a lot longer to aim. But in Brotherhood, it is just like you just hold down the button for a second and you're ready to go. So you can just be shooting people super fast across the rooftops. The gun is incorporated into the combat as well. Like if you have your sword out and you just hold down square, you can just pull your gun out and use it in the combat. And the animations are freaking sweet. Also, when you have a sword, you'll be like stabbing dudes, and you'll just shove your wrist gun into their head and just blow them back. It looks awesome. Man, what else? The story's just like Garrett said. I was just immediately just engaged in the story, in this character. Just Ezio is so likable. I actually care about what's going on, and I guess a good thing is I honestly forgot Ezio's story completely for the most part. So I'm I don't remember really playing through Brotherhood or especially Revelations. So I'm just so excited to kind of experience these games that I've completely forgotten about. And it's also kind of sad because I know once I finish these games, there's nothing else like them again. So I hope that Valhalla sold incredibly well, and I don't see a reason for Ubisoft to change what they're doing right now, and that's just a massive bummer because I think they have just strayed so far. And I think Unity, I've been seeing a lot of people recently talk about how Unity, just because it came out super buggy and wasn't, polished, people kind of just threw it aside. But I think that was, in terms of gameplay, that and Syndicate were like, where Assassin's Creed was at its best gameplay wise. Like you can do the parkour system was so amazing in those games. The way that you could play some of those assassination missions, just super stealthy, just different ways to infiltrate buildings and kind of side objectives to get into these locations to assassinate the people. It's just almost like Dishonored, just giving you different ways to accomplish the task. So I miss that. We unfortunately only had 2 of those games, and it also might have been, I think people were just burned out because Brotherhood, Revelations, 3, 4, Unity, those were year back to back to back to back to back. So I think people were kind of just ready for something new, and they took a year off and came back with Origins. So I understand, but I really hope Ubisoft kind of just takes a step back after Valhalla. Like I said, I don't know why there would be any reason to do so because they sell so well, but I don't know. I hope they kind of just reinvent it again and kind of go in towards a different direction that's more like the older Creed games.
I was thinking about Unity the other day, now that you mention it, and I really, looking back on it, I really enjoyed, France as a city. Or I know France isn't a city, but, the city space in that game was, it was very beautiful, and it was just fun to, run across the rooftops, run through the streets, and just, see the city, happening around you, I guess.
That game is
it was nice.
Still gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's one of the best looking Assassin's Creed games even now. I just miss that, dude, just running around in a city. Mm-hmm. That's not in Valhalla or Odyssey. I mean, of course they have cities, but it just doesn't, that's not the main focus. Like Valhalla, I spent 80% of the time just on a horse riding across massive grasslands and stuff, and it's not Assassin's Creed. It doesn't feel like it. The story isn't, I mean, it's like you work, I don't want to spoil too much for Valhalla. I don't want to, if somebody wants to play it, I don't want to spoil it for them, but it's just there's hardly any ties to the assassins. Mm-hmm. And it's just a bummer. It seems
like a big flaw if there's barely any assassins.
Yeah, it's and I don't care about the modern story now. I still cared about the modern story back in the OG Assassin's Creed games, like playing as Desmond, and I forgot all the Desmond stuff, but even that's kind of interesting to me.
Well, I think that you cared about it because they actually put effort into making a character, like a real life character out of Desmond, and then actually giving him events that what you did in the simulation was actually affecting the real world or something.
Yeah, and those were his ancestors. Now it's just
exactly.
I'm, in 4, it's like I'm playing literally a video game about Edward Kenway, and this one now you're able to just I don't even know how it works now. I think you're just accessing other people's memories or whatever, because I don't even know if Ivor, Bayak, or Cassandra or Alexios. I don't even know if they're related to Altair or Ezio or Connor or anything like that. Don't even know. So definitely not up to date on my Assassin's Creed lore, but I'm excited to finish Brotherhood and go into Revelations, and like I'm ready to just keep going. Like I haven't played 3 since it originally came out on 360, and there's the remastered version that came out on PS4 not too long ago. So I might play through that.
Do it.
So yeah, I think so. So that's what I'm doing currently. I think there was one other game that I played, but I'm not remembering it. Yeah, I don't know. For the most part, though, I've just been playing through the Creed games. So I've got the new Doom DLC downloaded, Ancient Gods Part 2. So I'm super pumped to play through that, but I have not started it yet, unfortunately. But that's all I have to say about Assassin's Creed. I'm thankfully I don't have to talk about Valhalla anymore, so I've put that to bed.
Well, congrats on the platinum.
Thanks. Me and Garrett did play some It Takes Two as well, so we can probably talk about that when it's his time.
I'd love to hear about that.
It's very fun. Very fun game.
It is.
It's surprising in some ways too, because I mean, gameplay wise, I think it's like polished beautifully. I mean, I mean, we're playing on PS5, but silky smooth lock, 60 FPS. Graphically, it's gorgeous, and mechanically, it's just constantly evolving to keep things interesting and fresh. Because you'll be in one area doing a particular style of gameplay for a little while, and then as soon as, like Preston made a good point, as soon as you're kind of like ready to move on, you move on to something entirely new, and really fun puzzles as well that are definitely pretty skill based. It isn't really a matter of just, oh, we figured it out, let's move on. Like, it really does require a bit of skill from each player to pull off some of these physics based puzzles. So we've had a lot of fun doing that, and it's a little charming story. It's kind of a sad story, but I imagine it wraps up in a positive way. But yeah, it's just been really fun. I mean, we've been laughing the entire time, just like different characters and moments throughout dialogue or gameplay. So it's just a really fun time. I don't know if I have too much else to say about it, but they've definitely delivered Hazelight with this one. So 2 thumbs up from me. We haven't even finished it yet. I think we're nearing the end, but we played a healthy chunk of it last night. What do you think, Poobah?
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. It's I knew it was going to be good because Get Out was good, Brothers was good. His Josef's past 2 games he's led have been extremely solid, but I wasn't expecting to. This one has definitely exceeded my expectations, just because of how much of I've been pretty like media. I've gone on like a media blackout, if that's the correct way to say that term, with this game. So I didn't realize how much of like a game this was. Like, this is straight up platforming, third person shooter almost. Like, we did so many things last night. It's like different.
Yeah, I mean, we got some Ratchet and Clank, we got some Gears, we got some there's like a flying portion we did that was super cooperative. That was so fun. Yeah. I mean, everything we've done, like, that's what's the beauty of it. It's like the ultimate co-op game because you cannot progress obviously without the other player.
Yeah, and that's what I appreciate so much about it. Like, this isn't some like Super Mario World co-op where you can kind of like drag your partner around, and if they die, they become like a little bubble that that follows you. Like, you have to cooperate with your co-op partner in this game. Like, it is essential. Like, I don't want to spoil too much about the mechanics, because I think that's the fun part of this game, is just being surprised by them. But the first one that you get is a hammer and a nail. So one character has a hammer and the other one has a nail, And there's this cool system where there are these platforms that have to be held by the person with the nail, like throwing a nail to keep them in place. And then the person with the hammer actually has to like traverse across these platforms or use the nails to swing from. And kind of towards the end of this segment, like I was having to jump past a platform. Garrett was having to like stick it while I was in midair, and I'm having to like wall jump and then him remove the nail, throw it to another platform so I can jump off that wall that I was on to get to the other platform. Like it gets really like confusing kind of where we were really having to communicate, and
that's what I liked a lot.
Yeah, like
it requires communication. You have to think about it, and I think each player is equally weighted in terms of what you're presented with having to accomplish. It isn't like one character is getting the most of what you have to do. You're equally working just as hard to make things happen, which is just really brilliant design. So
yeah, and while we were playing, Garrett made a joke like, "Oh, like I feel like I'm having all the fun because I have this nail." And I
called it the Leviathan nail.
Yeah,
that's what I called it.
Yeah, you could. It is very much like that. You throw the nail and you call it back to you. And I kind of thought that at first because I was looking over at his screen and he's having to aim and stuff. But as we kind of got going, like I had a lot of fun with the hammer. Like I was able to use the hammer to swing on his nails and to smash objects. And they use these mechanics in boss fights as well. Like we had to fight a toolbox at the end of this particular chapter we were in, and we had to use both of the mechanics of the nail and the hammer that we learned on the way up to the toolbox, and kind of had to perfect them as we fought this giant toolbox. And the mechanics of this particular fight were just really cool, and it was just super super unique. Having to fight a boss with just the way that you fight them in this game. It's definitely the man, I can't remember a co-op game that was as like engaging for two people that I've ever played, honestly.
That's how I've been feeling too. It's so much fun, to the point where I woke up this morning and like I immediately wanted to start playing it again.
Even like Gears of War co-op is, I'm very fond of that, but at the end of the day, it's just two people and you're just
shooting at stuff.
Whereas even like the shooting segments of this game, the weapons you're given, it requires teamwork. Like there's like a gun that shoots this gunk, and then the other player has a gun that can ignite the gunk. So the enemies that you're fighting, one person has to ooze them up first, and then the other player detonates it. So one person can't even defeat one enemy. Like it requires, constant teamwork to do anything in this game.
I think that's most exemplified too in the boss battles. The boss battles are really fun.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, the game just kept surprising us last night. Like even story wise, like there's just so much happening. I was like, what in the world is going on?
Yeah, it's easy to follow, but it's just full of surprises the whole time.
Yeah. So yeah, so far it's awesome. I completely understand why Josef was very confident about this game, where he said that if you're not surprised or not enjoying it, he'd pay you $1,000 or so, whatever. So I definitely am not getting the $1,000 because I am very surprised by it and I'm enjoying it a lot. So
same. Yeah, super fun. Cannot recommend that highly enough. It's cool too if someone buys it. How Preston and I are playing, I bought it and then I could provide him the friend code through the game.
That's cool.
So he can just play with me and download it. So that's another plus as well.
I will say, because I've seen this question a lot, and I also had this question about if this is a good game to kind of, like if you have a girlfriend or a family member who really doesn't play games too much and you kind of want to play something with them. I don't know if this is a good game for that. It's pretty like I feel like you need to be kind of familiar with games to really play this game. What do you think, Garrett?
Yeah, I was thinking that too, because I was surprised at how and it's kind of tricky to describe. It isn't there. Some of these portions aren't complex. They're just they require a lot of effort on the player to complete them. Like whether it's aiming or timing, reaction time. Like that's what I love is that it respects the player. It doesn't like hold your hand at all. And it really doesn't even explain anything. You just kind of have to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's all very intuitive, but at the same time, it is not really helping you much. It's really on you to make it happen.
Yeah. Even like the platforming is pretty like more complex than I thought it would be. Like there's a double jump with a dash. So, and you have to use the double jump and the dash to traverse a bunch of things, so that's not even that simple. So yeah, I definitely would recommend playing this with somebody that regularly plays games or knows what they're doing. So it might be a little frustrating if you just patch the controller to somebody that never plays games. I don't know how you would play this game.
Yeah, it'd be pretty tough.
Anywho,
that's a good one. I played some other stuff, nothing too notable, but I was gonna briefly talk about Falcon, Winter Soldier, and Justice League, but I wanted to hear what Jacob's been playing before I do that.
Sure. But playing a few things since I've been laying down so much and doing absolutely nothing. First of which was, of course, still continuing Persona 5 Royale, and I have beaten the regular game. I was telling Preston before we started recording that I forgot how long the ending of that game is. Like there's so many long stretches of time played in between saves at the end of the game that it's crazy. Like I forgot how long the game was. And that might not make Garrett want to play the game any more than he already does. But God, I enjoyed Persona so much. Like it's just so thrilling to play the game. And like Mementos at the end is just crazy. Like I forgot how just over the top it is. It's so awesome. But last night I just got to the I guess the third semester, like the new portion of the game. Really enjoying the story that's sort of unfolding. It's not what I expected at all. It was a little bit.
Did you beat the first game's boss?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you were that far.
Oh yeah. I'm in the last semester.
Ah, okay.
It's the new year now.
Gotcha.
So,
are you in the palace?
I've been in the first time. Yeah.
Okay.
So I got through the big story beat that happens.
Oh, so the big story beat, wink wink, like you
I think.
Okay.
I don't know.
We'll talk later.
Someone isn't who I thought they were. Let's say that.
Yes.
Just pretty crazy.
I know. I was like, whoa. Yeah, that's really cool.
What else is new in the DLC so far? I'm kind of like I don't know. I don't like how it starts out necessarily, because after you go to the palace for the first time in the third semester, like you have to spend a day just going to talk to each one of your friends in your party, and it's kind of like, this is taking way too long. Like I can't fast travel. I literally have to walk from LeBlanc to the train station to Central Street or whatever, and then I can fast travel somewhere. Like, why can't I just fast travel from LeBlanc? It's like they want me to physically walk through the city to take up more time. I don't know. It's weird, but and then I can only meet with one person a day, so it's taken me a week and a half to get through and meet with every single person, one person a day.
Yeah,
so it's just kind of annoying. But I'm enjoying the story beats. It's nice. Really enjoying the party that I went into the palace with initially. Really cool, just party members and abilities. Everything is a little OP, which is nice. I like feeling just crazy overpowered for once. Because at the end of the game in Persona 5, through Mementos and whatnot, it gets pretty challenging. There's some hard hitting enemies. The bosses are pretty challenging, especially the lead up to the last boss.
Oh yeah, dude, those mini bosses leading up, those are intense.
They were kicking my butt, and I was physically going back to heal after each one because I was just so low and I didn't have a whole lot of items just because I didn't prepare enough. But it was still a lot of fun. I don't want to stick on the game too long. I'll have a lot more to say once I probably actually beat it next podcast. But God, the Persona 5 is just so great. It's such a treat. And it's funny because I forgot a lot of what happened in the initial game. Like, it's just, I forgot like the whole ending.
Yeah.
It's crazy how that happens. But I've also, last night I started a new game. I finally started Demon Souls on PS5.
Yes. Now we're talking.
It is such a beautiful game. It's beautiful.
It is.
I knew it was going to be a gorgeous game. But
You playing in performance mode?
It's automatically in performance mode.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, and I'm playing a build that I did not think I would ever do. I'm playing like a mage build, like
easy mode, huh?
Yeah, easy mode.
I think the ability is called what's the ability called?
Soul Arrow.
Yeah, Soul Arrow. Thank you.
Yeah, that just massacres
it
everything.
like one shots every enemy in the first area.
I will say this. I started a build like that for my second playthrough to get the other trophies.
Mm-hmm.
And the only boss I've struggled with is, I already forgot his name. It's been so long since I played, but he's at the top of that tower. He's like a gargoyle boss.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the man-eater guy?
Yeah, I think he's called man-eater.
Yeah.
Because in my initial playthrough, he was nothing, dude. But like as a mage, for some reason, because if I take hits as a mage, like I go down way quicker than my knight did.
It's awful.
So that is like the only hard boss I've had trouble with in my second playthrough. When in my initial playthrough, he was nothing. So I'm kind of stuck there right now. Anyway, more from you.
Outside of the tutorial area, I haven't actually faced a boss yet. Because I faced a boss in the tutorial area. I got him down pretty low, and then I died just after like one hit. It was dumb. So then I woke up in the Nexus, how the game goes, and then I went to the first area. Got to like this bridge portion. Then there's like 3 paths you can go. One unlocks a shortcut. One is to a fog door, and the other is to like another area behind the stairs that leads to like a guy on a bridge with a spear and a shield. I tried to fight that guy a couple times, and he was just destroying me. He was blocking all of my soul arrows. Like I couldn't land a hit. He was just charging me and stabbing me. Ooh, that was loud. But yeah, I just couldn't beat him, so I gave up on him. Got my souls back with the other way. Unlocked the shortcut, and then I went through that fog door. It's probably not ringing a lot of bells for you, but that's sort of where I am. I have only probably put in an hour to the game, so
Yeah.
very initial impressions, but really enjoying it so far. It's fun. I've missed that old Souls grind. It's unique for sure in terms of like other games.
I love that game, dude. I was straight up addicted to it when I started on PS5. I could not put it down. I mean, I played it nonstop until I beat it. Yeah. I mean, I've been itching to go back to that for a little while, but I think I've had that itch to just really hunker down and get through Sekiro, dude, because I want to play it before Elden Ring or beat it before Elden Ring. And I'm just ashamed that I haven't finished it yet. I haven't dedicated enough time to like master the combat. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. I've just kind of like had that itch to play like a period piece Souls game. I mean, I've had Oblivion on the mind. Not that I'd really go back and play much of that, but I've seen a couple of tweets about Oblivion recently. I'm like, man, I love that game so much. But I'm just kind of in a mood to play a game in that era, sort of. But I'm glad you started Demon Souls because that game is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you said it looks good, but dude, I don't know if you've noticed, but I mean, there are like little nuances in the DualSense that make that game even more enjoyable. Mm-hmm. Like one of my favorites. I mean, it feels good just to hit anything with a sword in the game, but one of my favorites is when you like, I don't know if you've done this yet. You can ignite your sword.
Yep.
Like with fire, and it like there's a slight rumble in the controller. It's very subtle, but you can feel it the whole time the sword's on fire. I think that's so cool.
Yeah. Oh, I remember when I first booted up the menu and I like heard audio out of the controller. I was like, oh man, I forgot like this controller had features because I've been playing so much Persona on my PS5 and they don't do anything with the controller. Right. So I just forgot that it was even a thing.
It is super cool.
But yeah, it was
even
awesome.
Dude, even casting spells. I forgot how cool Soul Arrow feels because it surges through the handles up to the middle when you fire it.
Yes, sure.
That's how I want spells to feel in Harry Potter on PS5 when it comes out.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the controller is definitely awesome, especially in Demon Souls. Like it's just like it's so immersive that you wouldn't even think that it could create so much immersion just in your hands. But it's just Like not only with its audio, but it's just like the rumble. The rumble is just so cool. Like I can't overstate that. For those that don't have a PS5.
Mm-hmm.
That's really all my thoughts on Demon's Souls. Excuse me.
Souls.
It's funny. Like I was looking it up on Google. I was like looking up builds and walkthroughs just to like get a general idea of like what I'm supposed to be doing. And the game's pretty straightforward, so I didn't really need to do that. But I was looking stuff up and I typed in Demon's Souls and like I typed in Demon's Souls, but the number one choice is Demon Soul. Like,
yeah.
No one knows how to say the game, right? So I got a little chuckle out of that. But besides that, I think those are the main two things that I've been playing. I think a couple nights I played a little bit of Overwatch with some guildies from WoW, and then I did some raiding in WoW. But
busy man.
Yeah, yeah, it's fine. I'm kind of getting to the point where it's kind of getting boring, you know. We haven't gotten any new content at all since the expansion launched, and the first patch isn't going to be out probably till late summer. It's looking like so.
It's amazing how long these patches and expansions can be in development, and they come out and people blow through them. They're like, all right, when's the next one?
Mm-hmm. Well, they usually release them quicker than they have thus far, but I think they've had a hard time adjusting to the work from home life, and I think they're understaffed, unfortunately.
Yeah, I also saw that. I mean, I didn't read into this. It may be for like a specific division of Blizzard, but I saw that like over 190 employees were fired recently.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to talk about it today, but most of which were like the live esports service division, which a lot of which is being done from home now. In terms of like they're not going to live events anymore. It's just like players playing at their computers, and they still have like a commenting cast, but you know, it's not like a big, massive production like it used to be. So they don't need all those people. Yeah,
that makes sense. I mean, it sucks, but times are changing.
Yeah. I mean, it's Blizzard and Activision cutting even more jobs while their executives line their pockets with millions. And everyone's up in arms about that.
Pretty bad.
I mean, it's a bad look. They've been cutting employees for years, and they haven't really been replacing them. And not only that, games are, you know, looking less polished from Blizzard than they used to, and it seems like people are working much harder and doing more work than they used to. So it just doesn't seem like there's that magic there anymore, which is
it's a shame.
Kind of depressing to me. Makes me
Let's
question
just hope
my
Diablo
fandom.
4 just kills it when it comes out, because I have so much hope for that game. Well, speaking of which, I know we have like no time for anything just with everything going on, but I know we talked about dabbling in Diablo 3 again. I mean, I have it installed and ready. It's just a matter of picking a night, just messing around for a while. Back!
Can't wait till we get to that part. It's in like the first hour.
Jacob, give us a quick Deckard Cain impression. You do the best.
I don't know if I can.
You got this, dude. Come on.
What do I say again? I forgot.
I think it's just back.
Oh, stay back.
Classic. Man. What else you been playing? Is that everything we've been talking about our games for a while?
Dude, what about Ease 8? You've been grinding away at that?
Ease 9.
9, my bad. My bad.
Some gamer you are, dude.
No. Haven't touched it. It's very forgetful.
Dude.
It's fun. Okay.
You haven't even played it.
It's just okay. I'll just say that.
He's playing the superior game, the man's game, Demon's Souls.
Yeah, whatever, man.
I might go back to it. I don't know. I probably wasted $60. I don't know if I'll ever go back.
I'm waiting for it to go on sale, personally.
You can come over and play mine.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sure.
Dude, come over and play with me.
Come platinum it for me.
I miss those days.
Yeah.
Preston, to think it, man. If we were roommates, we could have been playing It Takes Two couch co-op, bro.
Oh man, you're right. We wouldn't have had any audio issues.
Yeah, maybe one day. Actually, I'm going to say one day. I'm not even going to say maybe anymore.
I'm sure it will be one day.
One day.
One of these days.
One day they will join you in the sun, Cal. Is that it from you, Jacob? You got
more?
It
is. That's all for me.
Okay. I also started Brotherhood. I won't talk any more about that, but dig in it as well. I played a little more Batman Arkham Knight. Game's phenomenal. I'm kind of streamlining my experience, just kind of doing the main story. I'm like, I might do like the murder mystery with the pig man. Again, I am Pig Man. I remember that being the only semi-interesting side mission of that game. But the main story content really is exceptional, aside from Jason Todd being Arkham Knight, which is still so funny to me.
Dude, spoiler alert.
But I think I'm enjoying it more than I did initially because I'm just, like I said, streamlining the main story. But I'm still shocked at how much tank stuff is even in the main story, dude. There is so much of it. I was like mind blown. And that's the thing about it, is that mechanically it functions perfectly. Like, it feels great to operate the tank. It's just, I don't want to do it. I was just shocked at how many tank sequences there are, and even the main story. But that aside, I played a bit of Cold War on PS5 with our buddies Zach and Andy. We played the new Zombies mode, and it was fine. I think the only thing I have to say about it is that it's very beautiful in PS5, runs well as always, and the triggers just feel really cool. I mean, playing any shooter on PS5 now, I mean, I'm still going to prefer PC just because I prefer mouse and keyboard these days. But
Wait, didn't you tell me you weren't going to get Cold War?
I had received a code from COG for gameplay capture when it first came out. I just had not played it in a while. And the storm is caught up here. You can probably hear the winds howling in my mic. Can you guys hear that?
I can.
hear it,
yeah.
Yeah. There's got like a vortex that always happens in between these apartment buildings. It's just like constant.
Lucky.
When it's a bad storm. But I mean, it sounds like something out of like a old horror movie. But Cold War feels really cool on the DualSense. I almost bought it on PC just because I like Modern Warfare on PC is just outstanding. But I figure I'm not going to drop another $60 just to play it on mouse and keyboard. So controller feels great. I may eventually go through the campaign on PS5, but that was pretty fun. And aside from games, I'll touch quickly on these so we can talk about some of the news because I have to be done in like less than 30 minutes. But Falcon Winter Soldier episode 1 I liked. I was like, oh yeah, this is pretty cool. I'm digging this. But episode 2 I'm pretty locked in, dude.
Oh,
Have
episode 2
you seen
is
any
so
of this?
much better than 1.
Yeah,
Not that 1 was bad, but it was just like
yeah.
a lot of setup. Like 2 is like I'm in. Like I
Totally. Yeah. The actor who's playing the new Captain America, I really like him as an actor. He has not had a lot of time to shine. Like, I think his best role I've seen him in was in a Black Mirror episode in season 2 or 3 where he does like a augmented reality story.
Okay.
And he is so good in that episode. And that's like one of my favorite episodes of Black Mirror. I haven't seen him since that. And I didn't realize it was him in episode 1. But then as soon as he takes the mask off, I think what's cool, I don't want to spoil it, but the way they set up his character, like immediately like had me feel empathetic toward him, or almost sympathetic toward him. Like, oh, like this is actually really interesting what they're doing with this character.
I think my favorite thing about him is how goofy he looks in that mask.
Yeah.
Like you can see his dimples just like, and he has that smaller face. It just looks hilarious.
But it surprised me because I'm like, in the trailers, I'm like, oh, you know, like clearly this guy's going to come in and be like the government initiated Captain America. And like, obviously we know Falcon's going to eventually get the shield.
Yeah, and this is a minor spoiler, but it's like second episode. So.
Yeah, but I mean, even in the trailers alone, like Falcon has the shield, like practicing with it. So obviously that's coming. We don't know how he's going to get it back, but the story threads they've created in episode 2 have made me totally intrigued with what they're doing. I mean, there's still like some TV campiness to some of the visual effects. I mean, I'm surprised at how good Falcon looks in all the action sequences. I think he looks great. I mean, some of it looks a little cheap and like not all the acting is quite there, but for the most part, like Falcon and Winter Soldier, I love their relationship and how that's going to clearly evolve throughout the season.
I've been enjoying Bucky a lot.
Yeah, like because he's like obviously has the very dark past. He's very conflicted, and like what they're doing with him, even initially, is very intriguing. So I'm not regretting watching it, even like with the mindset knowing that there aren't going to be any really game changing MCU events that happen. It's just like a really character focused story. I appreciate.
I'm even enjoying like his psychiatry like visits and like how he's like sort of coping with, you know, Steve being gone and like his past, and like he went on like some date and they're like joking about how he's like over 100 years old, and it's just like this guy has like so many issues that we can't even understand as like a viewer. And then like he's like he has this neighbor that he's like the only thing that he knows how to do is like to solve problems with like violence or like, you know, getting his hands dirty. But like he's like trying to live this life that's the opposite of that, and he doesn't really know how to function. So it's just kind of cool to sort of see how he copes with that.
Yeah. I like that what's his name? Sam, the actor who plays Falcon.
I can't remember his last name. It was
I'm
like
forgetting all of a
Sam.
I can't remember,
I'll
but
look it up.
he really is awesome in a lot of the things he's in. He has a big personality offset from what I've seen. So I'm glad that he's actually getting to explore more of this character versus just kind of being Captain America's literal wingman. Like he's had a lot of funny scenes in episode 2 that I really liked a lot. So
Are you talking
really
about
digging-
Falcon?
Falcon, yeah.
That's Anthony Mackie.
Anthony Mackie. I don't know where I got Sam from. Anthony Mackie, but yeah, I'm really enjoying Falcon as well. So I'm anticipating the next episode of this show way more than I was for WandaVision.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree.
I cannot wait to see more. It's been cool.
Yeah. I like that.
Justice League. I don't want to do all this too long. I'll try to like just contain my thoughts. So I've seen this movie, if you can believe it, 2.5 times on HBO Max.
Ugh.
So the reason being is because one, I was just interested in seeing how Zack Snyder's vision would be fully realized in comparison to the theatrical cut, which truly was terrible. Just briefly speaking, his version is certainly objectively better in many ways. It is a full story. It makes total sense. I mean, there's a lot of silly stuff in it. I think a lot of the dialogue is pretty bad, most of it, and not even all the acting is all that great. But visually, story beats, visual effects, most of that is all very strong. So it made it a very enjoyable watch, even for the 4 hours. I mean, it took me like 4 days to watch it because I didn't have time to sit down for 4 hours, but really enjoyed everything about it. I thought Steppenwolf was way better. Of course, I could not believe how much of Cyborg's story was cut out of the movie. I mean, the movie is basically about Cyborg for the most part.
Oh, really?
But everyone was pretty solid throughout. I thought Wonder Woman was super badass. As far as just the 4 hour cut, I mean, I don't mind it being 4 hours long, but even watching it in my initial viewing, I was shocked at how much unnecessary stuff is in there. I don't even mean like, oh, this story thread could have gone or this character moment could have been gone. I mean like just unnecessary things. Like, for example, at the beginning of the movie, you see Batman walk through the mountains of this whatever country he's in to meet Aquaman for the first time. For like 3 whole minutes. It's just Batman walking. I'm like, you could cut out 2.5 minutes of this. And it's like so many little things like that are just unnecessary throughout the whole movie that make it 4 hours. When I think there easily could have been a solid 3 hour cut. And I also thought it was funny that IGN counted every second of slow motion. There's over 24 full minutes of slow motion in the movie.
Oh my goodness.
And some of it's earned that make it like really cool, visually interesting sequences, but not all of it's necessary. Some of it's just totally pointless.
Having never seen like either version of the movie, like that's mind blowing to me. 24 minutes of just slow motion.
Yeah, collectively.
Jeez.
Yeah, but I don't want to dwell on it too much, but 4:3 aspect ratio didn't totally bother me. I mean, obviously a lot of movies were shot that way, presented that way throughout time. So I've seen that aspect ratio enough to not mind it. I still would have preferred a full frame, like 16:9 image over 4:3, but is what it is. The color version is extremely desaturated, but I do prefer it over black and white. Black and white looks pretty elegant, but I think the visual effects and just overall look are better emphasized through color. So I could go on and on about that. I kind of wanted to, I wish I'd invited someone from the community onto this episode to kind of like discuss it for a while, but maybe we'll hold that for a later time because there's a lot to say about it. I think the cooler story about it isn't even really the movie itself. It's just Zack Snyder having the opportunity. And granted, it had a lot to do with money and fan outcry, and this very much was probably a strategic part. I've heard on it's like AT&T and WB, like it financially made sense to like draw in more subscribers to HBO Max. It wasn't just let's let Zach finish his vision because we want to be kind. Like, it really
I think
was
it got to the
financially
point
driven.
where like it was stupid not to release it because of the social media outcry. Like everyone was talking about it all the time.
Yeah, but then again, like unless it's gonna like garner them money, like they're not going to just do it just because people want it. Like it had to make sense to a degree, but I think the most beautiful part about it was at the end, after it concludes, he like dedicated it to his daughter who committed suicide, which was just extremely tragic and sad. Mm-hmm. I thought that was the coolest part of the story, is that he got to finish what he started and dedicated it to his daughter after everything that had happened. It was just the coolest part about it. And it'll be interesting how Justice League and the whole story surrounding its production and completion up to this point will affect productions going forward, specifically on streaming services. So it's a pretty wild story, but I enjoyed it, and I watched it 2.5 times because I have this thing where when like a movie or TV show is like being talked about a lot online, for some reason I just want to feel like I'm still a part of it. Like when Force Awakens came out, I think I saw it like 5 times in theaters because it was just everyone was talking about it, so I just kept wanting to watch it. So I watched it just to watch it the first time, but I've just had it on in the background while I'm like working out or doing something at home. Just it's on. So pretty familiar with it. So if someone from the community wanted to just kind of like talk about it for fun at some point, I'd be down for that.
A private chat with Garrett Drake.
Yeah, that or something on the side for the YouTube channel or something. I don't know. But anyway, there's other little things, but we'll just skip to the news because I got to go soon. You guys are going to end up finishing this episode again. We'll have to like either start earlier on Sundays, which probably sounds insane, or just do it on Saturdays now because my Sundays are weird for the foreseeable future. But gentlemen, let's jump into the news, shall we? How about this? Gotham Knights delayed to 2022. Whatever, bro. I'm not even hyped for that. I want it to be good, but I haven't seen anything yet that's got me hyped. So do what you got to do. Switch Pro. Preston, you kind of told me some tidbits about
I
this.
wanted to speak on that just a little bit because I think we have, especially me, I've talked so much on the podcast about how I haven't gone back to my Switch because it just feels like a 50-year-old console compared to, PS5 and PC. There's I think it's there's been enough smoke to know that the Switch Pro is for sure happening. Bloomberg has put out several articles on it at this point. I think at least like 2 or 3. Apparently it's in its docked state, it's going to output 4K. It's going to use NVIDIA's DLSS magic to achieve that 4K, which is cool to see. And apparently the rumored price is $400, and it's supposed to be coming out this year. And that just makes me super pumped because I think this is definitely needed for Pokemon Legends. What is it, Jacob? Arceus? Is that it?
I don't know.
Arceus, the god deer Pokemon.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't know what it's called.
Yeah. I think it's Arceus. So for that game, definitely Breath of the Wild 2. I mean, that alone is enough to buy the Switch Pro. Is to play that game at a...
I get excited as soon as like we get an announcement for a game that's going to take advantage of, that system.
Like even like Monster Hunter Rise that just came out yesterday or Friday. I didn't get it, and I don't want to get it. I mean, I love...
Really? You seemed excited about it.
I love Monster Hunter, but I don't want to play it on Switch. Honestly, like I just don't want to. Now on a Switch Pro with an update, sure, yeah, I'll be all over that. So yeah, I want that thing. I will buy it, and that's pretty much all I have to say. I just think it's something that is very much needed. I think the Switch has. I can't be the only one that is just a little turned off by just how insanely underpowered it is at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it always has been, right? It was never about what it could do. It
was a little more like tolerable back when just around PS4 and the original Xbox One. Because, it came out the same week as Horizon, which of course Horizon was absolutely gorgeous. But in terms of like open world gameplay and stuff like that, it was, I feel like Breath of the Wild was very comparable to that game. But, but I don't know, but just now it's just like going back, and I will say all the first party Nintendo titles obviously still run and look really good on there. It's just the third party stuff, like playing Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity was just the frame rate, man. Like, why? How is this happening? Xenoblade Chronicles 2, when that came out, I'm like, why is this running at 2 FPS?
Not the best running game, not the prettiest game, but it's a good game.
Just I don't know, just the thought of playing Breath of the Wild 2 on it, the new Metroid game on it, etc., etc. The new Pokemon game. I mean, even the reveal trailer for the new Pokemon game looked like it was just running atrociously. So just to know that there's some better hardware coming to where we can play all those games that I mentioned at a higher resolution, higher frame rate, that just very much excites me.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree.
Cool.
You guys want to talk about the PSVR controllers?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I assume we have all seen them. Thoughts on the aesthetic of the new controllers?
Dig it, dude.
Yeah.
Dig it.
I love how it's just no matter what angle you look at it, it's a sphere. I think that's very cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. I mean, most excitingly is the the adaptive triggers and the DualSense features.
Dude,
that are
I
built
think
into them.
hands down the most exciting feature, and I think it pretty much confirms just other things about PlayStation VR, is that they are tracked via the headset, just like the Quest is, which I think in turn confirms that the headset itself is going to be just tracked independently like the Quest. Like, I don't think we're going to need any camera or any lighthouse to track anything with this. I think it's going to straight up be, you plug this thing into the USB Type-C port in the front of your PS5 and you're done. You're good to go. And that is awesome.
Awesome.
That is incredibly exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it somehow does require lighthouses, whatever, I'm still pumped to know that these controllers are just, build wise in another, on another planet compared to the original, PS Move controllers, and to know that the tracking will just be so much better.
I am very pumped.
So, yeah,
It looks
dope.
slick though. Like they really do.
Yeah. They're going to have
Like
finger tracking as well, which is sick, just like the Index. Dude, this Half-Life Alyx has to come to this thing.
Ooh.
It has to.
Oh, that'd be wonderful, dude. I would love to, because I'm a hashtag not fanboy, so I'm definitely investing in this new PSVR.
Yeah.
So I would love to play it there if it does.
I would love to play through that game again with trophy support. Come on. All over that.
Come on now.
Do you think we get to see what the headset looks like this year?
Oh, absolutely, dude. That's coming. I bet
yeah.
sooner than later that's coming.
Yeah, I think so.
Do you think it comes out this year?
No.
Okay.
Next year. I think next year.
I think you're right.
That'd be a killer holiday item, though, if it came out this year.
I mean,
Like
they're probably just trying to get as many people as possible a PS5 first this holiday.
Yeah, that's a good point. Very good point.
So, but yeah,
Good.
super pumped. I wasn't dying to pull out my PSVR anytime soon anyways, but this pretty much was the final nail in the coffin for that thing. That's gonna forever just be sitting in my closet until the end of the time.
Yeah. A solid first start, though. I had a lot of fun with PSVR for a while.
Yeah, I will never forget my first playthrough of Resident Evil 7 on that thing, for sure.
Oh, yeah. That was very special for Jacob and I, too. Jacob, that is a great... Jacob, lean back one more time like that. I got a screenshot for you. You look great. Let's talk about Last of Us TV show update and the Ghost movie.
Let's do it.
I think what Neil Druckmann had to say about production of the Last of Us series is exactly what I was hoping to hear. Where they are adapting the first game, but they're going to deviate from certain story points and go in directions that are unexpected, which I think is very good, because I think you can take the exact same story arc with the exact same characters and explore events that may have gone unseen. Like, think about all the time that passes between the seasons of the game. You could technically fill those gaps with a TV show. I'm not saying really add to the story, but just events that kind of keep it fresh for people that are very familiar with the first story. And even like the look of the characters. I mean, granted, they will look like physically like the characters, but even he mentioned like aesthetically, like their clothing won't be exactly the same, which I think is also fresh. So little things like that, I think, are exactly what I was hoping to hear about this.
Joel better be wearing a plaid button-up.
A variation of a plaid shirt. Maybe not a green one, maybe like a red one or like a blue one or something, but he may not have his green plaid shirt on.
Who's playing Joel again?
That's great news. It's Pedro Pascal.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, really great actor.
I know we had discussed on what this first season would even be, so that is interesting to see that the entirety of the first game is going to be the first season. So I wonder how many episodes that might be.
Mm-hmm.
No less than 10 probably to tell the full story, I imagine. I mean, you can maybe do it in 8, but that'd be pushing it unless they cut some stuff out of it. I think the main beats you could probably tell in 8 to 10 episodes easy. It won't be any more than 10 for sure, because I know HBO doesn't do huge seasons often.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did that get you guys excited? Is that news you like to hear? Because that's exactly what I wanted to hear.
Yes. No, just seeing the deviation from the story and stuff, like I kind of assumed they were going to do that regardless, but just seeing that the first season is the entirety of the first game, that gets me very excited, because that was something that I was kind of worried about, whereas like, the first 10 episode season is just them getting to like the Capitol building and like
and test eyes at the end.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I hope that so that's really good news to me. I wonder if past this, if we're gonna explore things that happen in Jackson. Because of nothing really, it's as far as the game goes, nothing too exciting happens in Jackson between the first game and the second game. It's kind of just Joel and Ellie just living,
Mm-hmm.
So I'd be interested to see if they.
I think I would like that if they did do it.
Explore that. If there's no stakes, why do we care?
Yeah. I guess it depends on what their plans are for the future. Like, obviously, they have to wait till they see the success of the first season. But, I mean, sometimes things are greenlit before they even come out. But usually, like they'll catch up very quickly to the games, obviously. So you gotta think they'll have to do something like that if they plan for a large future for the show.
I mean, I would be shocked if this sucks to the point where they don't greenlit the second season. That would be very surprising.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I expect big things from it.
Yeah, the people that have their hands on this are just historically too good at what they've done for me to think that this show's going to be anything less than good.
Mm-hmm. True.
But anywho, anything else to add to that, Garrett?
No, I'm just I cannot wait to see it come to life, because that's great news.
Wait. Same. How do y'all feel about the Ghost of Tsushima movie? Is that something that you necessarily wanted?
No, not really.
Not necessarily. It has potential. I thought it was an interesting choice of the director, the guy who directed, technically all of the John Wick movies, but one of the two directors of the first one. He obviously directs action beautifully. So I imagine the action in the film will be great. But the thing about the John Wick stories, I mean, granted, they're not really designed to be story-heavy films, but from a storytelling perspective, I'm curious to see how he'll tackle this story, because I mean, this is a very character-focused video game. I mean, it's not there's not a whole lot of depth to the characters, but I mean, it is character-focused, especially Jin's evolution from beginning to end. Is pretty critical to that story. So, and his relationship with his uncle. So long as he can direct characters well, I have faith in the movie. I think it'll be cool. It'd be amazing if they could shoot on location on Tsushima. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, that would.
To really capture the beauty of the island. But and Jin, I didn't realize that Jin Sakai's actor, like they used his face and everything. It'd be cool if he could just play the live action version of himself.
Definitely.
It'd be so cool. But I mean, I think it's easy to say that the action in this film will be incredible. So that's something to look forward to. But high hopes. And I think this is asking too much, honestly, just due to COVID. And I don't know when this is going into production, but possibly COVID still being a factor, and just budget, if they could even remotely get anywhere near Tsushima to film this. It'd be a shame if they shoot on like studios. Like I always hate to hear when they're like filming in studios and stuff, especially for movies that should really emphasize the beauty. Like a huge part of that game as well is just the beauty of it. So we'll see. But those are high hopes for me that Jin, the actor who plays Jin, can reprise his role in live action, and they can shoot on Tsushima Island, be incredible.
I think this also further thrusted the sword into the heart of the Infamous series.
It's done.
At least Sucker Punch working, because it's just like there's no way Sucker Punch, unless they split into different teams, kind of like Insomniac did, like their hands are just completely full with Tsushima, which is like great. I absolutely love Tsushima. Cannot wait to have more Tsushima. But definitely a bummer, because I think Infamous still has so much potential, and I would love, it's definitely not a chance of Sucker Punch ever going back to Sly Cooper, but that would have been pretty sweet.
That's the dream, dude, for me. That is the dream.
Dude, Sony has to do, this is a little side tangent, I know it's not on our list, but Sony has to do something about Sly Cooper, about Infamous, especially with the news of the PS Vita store and the PS3 store being taken down this summer. Once those stores are down, if you don't have the physical copies of the Sly Cooper collection, the Infamous games and stuff, they're gone. Like, these games are disappearing.
I think Kyle mentions that in his question he asked for us later on.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's pretty big deal.
Yeah. Because I always knew, like, in the back of my head, was like, if I ever want to play Sly Cooper, if I ever want to go back to Infamous, all I got to do is just buy those consoles and I can download them. So that is I feel like I need to invest in a Vita at least at some point before that happens, and just download a bunch of those games just so I can have them.
Wait, what happened to yours?
I sold it a long time ago.
Your Vita you sold?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I still got mine, dude.
Yeah.
Some PlayStation fan you are.
Yeah, I know, right? And of course, the price of Vitas are probably going to just skyrocket because of this news. So, yeah, it's just great.
Yeah, I learned my lesson after selling my PS3 and 360. I vowed never again.
Yeah, I don't know why I did. It was a long time ago. No clue why I did. But I must have been strapped for cash at the time. But
yeah, two treats I'd love. One's more realistic than the other, but I'd love if anything, just a Sly Cooper collection that I can just own on PS5. But like big dream is remastered, higher frame rate Sly Cooper.
Yeah,
but
we need
my other one that I think is very realistic is a 60 frames version of Ratchet and Clank from PS4 prior to Rift Apart coming out.
Yes, I agree. I would love to see like the Spyro remaster, Crash remaster treatment given to Sly Cooper. I think that would be incredible.
As cool as like the remaster of the Ratchet and Clank game would be, I don't think I even have time to even play through it again. So like me wanting it would, like, I do want it, but like, would I even play it? Probably not. But I'm definitely playing the new one. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, I hear you.
Thanks for.
I don't really have time to talk about it, but I think a fun subject would have been. I mean, it might make sense later on, but like with the Ghost sequel, what you'd like to see improved or changed. Just because I was thinking about the movie, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah, that's a good question, because that, like, the sequel doesn't even get me excited at all. Like, I spent so long playing that game that it just like drained me. Like, I just.
That's what's weird is that I feel like I completed it entirely. I think I platinumed it actually. Maybe I didn't. I can't remember. But I did pretty much everything, and I still feel like I didn't play it a whole lot. I don't know why.
Yeah, after I platinumed it, I remember being like, man, like, what a journey. I want more of that.
Yeah, especially on PS5, dude. It is killer in the higher frame rate. So,
I bet so.
So good.
I don't know. It just didn't jive with me. I couldn't tell you why. It's definitely a very gorgeous game, even on the base PS4 that I played it on.
Mm-hmm. Dude, easily my favorite melee combat in a game probably ever. I mean, some games like do it different. Like you can name a million good like melee combat games, but I just loved what it demanded from me as a player, and I loved how good it felt to play. And
dude,
I keep thinking
at some point we should play the multiplayer mode.
I agree.
It is good.
We should do that.
It is surprisingly good, and I was playing it by myself. So
I'm down.
there's like a raid and stuff for it. Like I think that would be
Dope.
definitely fun to try out.
Dig it.
You guys give me the word and I'll download it.
Yeah, I'm actually already facing the SSD lack of space on the SSD of the PS5. Just installing games. I keep having to pick and choose.
Dude, I do want to tell you,
freaking Cold War takes up like more than half of it.
So what I've done, I had an external 5 terabyte drive that I just had laying around, and you can't install PS5 games to it, but you can install PS4 games onto it. So all these PS4 games that I'm playing, Arkham Knight, Assassin's Creed, all that stuff is on a completely separate hard drive.
Do they run well off of that drive? Is it like the write and read pretty quick?
I've had 0 issues.
Wow, that's great.
Yep.
If
So
that's
if you have
something to keep in mind.
spare hard drive or anything, you can use it for that.
Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, gents, I gotta dip out because I need at least an hour to get everything I gotta get together before I go. So
Garrett, don't leave us.
I love y'all. I can actually very quickly, not to skip over to Ask IOG just yet.
I mean, I think we're ready for Ask IOG.
Okay.
I think we've gone through.
I was going to very quickly answer 2 of them that are easy to answer. Ask IOG is the part of the show where we answer your questions submitted through any of our social media at ItsObviousGaming, the Ask IOG section of our Discord channel, or emailed to us at ItsObviousGaming@gmail.com. And if you want your question read live on the show, always include the hashtag AskIOG. Fribes, he asked if you watched Cartoon Network back in the day, what was one show you missed? For me, it was The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Oh,
it's up there for me.
Love that show.
Yeah, it's a good show. I liked Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Oh, that's such a good show.
I even like some of Powerpuff Girls, honestly.
Dude, OG Teen Titans.
Oh yeah, that's also up there.
Dexter's Laboratory was my jam.
Oh, dude, Dexter's Laboratory
there are
is easily my
kids
favorite.
now. There are people that don't even know what Dexter's Laboratory is, and that is
makes
just
me so sad.
Diddy.
Get out of my laboratory!
That is so
dude. Dexter is classic.
Depressing to me.
Yeah,
so
that was tribal.
Omelette du fromage.
Omelette du fromage. What was the Mandark? Was the
Mandark.
Mandark was the rival.
Mandark.
So good. Yeah,
dude, that'd be an amazing show to be able to stream somewhere.
Yes, dude. Old
I think
school
it was on
Cartoon
somewhere.
Network, so good.
It was on some streaming service a while back. I can't remember what it was, but I would love to be able to stream that show.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are some big ones for me for sure.
Did Courage used to scare you guys, that show?
It creeped me out a little bit.
It kind of gave me uneasy feelings when I watched it. I think that was intended, though.
Nostalgic memories of watching Courage the Cowardly Dog on Friday nights with my dad eating frozen pizza when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Man, those were the days.
Good times.
We forgot to mention this. I think Kyle may or may not have mentioned, Attack on Titan in this question. I can't answer, but dude, Attack on Titan right now, I'm all caught up, I told Preston this last night, insane.
That's
absolutely insane. Dude, the way the last episode ended, I don't think I'd like gasp watching a show in a while. Like I could not believe what happened at the end.
There's been so many gasps.
I know, dude. Holy crap. I cannot wait to watch it.
I'm watching it today. I swear I'm watching it today.
Yeah.
I finished season 4 or 3. I finished season 3 the other day and thought it was amazing. And I kind of see where season 4 is going. I talked to Garrett very vaguely about it, but if it's going where I think it's going, then I need to hop on it big time.
Preston, you're gonna lose your mind after like 2 or 3 episodes.
I'm sure,
dude. I told Preston this last night. I don't think I was crazy at the beginning. I think it's just because the jump from season 3 to season 4 visually was a little jarring to me. But I've become accustomed to the new style of animation, and I think unless I'm just insane, I told Preston I may have to just go back and watch the first couple episodes to see if it's just improved. But I could swear that the current episodes of this season look better than the first few episodes. I don't know why I feel that way, but maybe I'm just used to how it looks now. I don't know, but I think the animation is really solid still. It was different from 3, so it threw me off at first, but really, really good. I'm not bored anymore. There's a couple of lull episodes in there in the middle, but where we're at now, I think totally
one
engaged.
of the most important questions is, how is the opening theme of this season?
It's fine.
It'll
never be the original, but it's all right.
It's grown on me a lot after I've heard it
Because
several times.
the theme for the end of the third season was just an amalgamation of all of them, and I thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, this one really doesn't have any of them, I don't think. It's just a bunch of really cool animation.
It's just like
Yeah.
that's literally how it goes.
okay.
It's good. I think you'll like it.
Okay.
Just a side note while we're talking about anime before I hop off. I have been watching Hunter x Hunter as well a good bit, and that show is so good, dude.
Yes.
So good.
How far in?
I'm like probably, I imagine at least halfway through the tower arc, at least, because I've been watching a ton of episodes about the tower.
Remind me what the tower is.
When they go into the fighting arena that goes up to the top of the tower.
Oh, yeah, it's so good.
That is classic anime right there.
Oh yeah, it's
like
excellent,
the
dude.
entire premise of Sword Art, the first season.
Yeah, it's a very beautiful show too. I love it. And Big Colt, your tattoo question, I'm totally getting that that Jar Jar back piece. It is sick.
Well, you don't want the troll doll?
That's a good looking troll, but that
what I
back
would go
piece from
with.
Jar Jar is beautiful.
That troll doll grosses me out so much. It's so nasty. Like, how do you get that much hair right there? Like, I can't grow that much hair on my arm. Like, I'm just curious.
Me neither. All right, gentlemen, I got to hop off. I'm already running behind. I love you to bits. Love everyone who's tuning in. I'm sorry for the delay in the next episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. There's a part of me, I'm actually moving on Thursday, and I like to imagine I'm going to like invest in some sort of setup where I can do more videos for YouTube. Even like, I'm really inspired by Jake Baldino's style. It's very simple, just talking to camera stuff, but I have so many thoughts throughout the weeks of like gaming news and stuff that I'd like to like do something similar. So I might try something like that once I move. It's just I'm like in the process of packing up and like that whole ordeal. So maybe once I'm moved in and settled, you can count on some new YouTube content for fun. But
Nice.
that's it for me, gentlemen. Love you all, and I'll talk to you again soon. Same thing as last week. Just finish up and then upload your audio when you're done.
Cool.
Sounds good.
All right. Peace, Bond.
See you, man.
Peace. All right, Jacob, let's get into Dexter Clark's question, which I think is going to be a fairly easy one to answer. Hello, boys. It's been some time since I've written in, but I never miss a podcast. Wish y'all uploaded more, but completely understand that work, school, etc. can take up a lot of time. Yes, sir. We apologize as well. But for my question, do you ever switch to multiple games, or do you usually stick to one game when playing? Because there are not many games out right now. I'm playing Red Dead 2 online, AC Valhalla, I'm sorry, Immortal Phoenix Rising, and Fallout 4 modded, even jumping into a second playthrough of Last of Us 2 every now and then. That is my life, sir. I literally, all I do is just play multiple games at the same time. So the answer is yes for me.
I'm a little more reserved in that regard. I usually try to stick to playing like one multiplayer game and then one single player, just so I have like that tiny bit of variety. But I usually like to just knock things out one at a time. But there are times when I'm just playing like 4 or 5 things. Not very often, but you know, it happens.
Yeah.
And it usually happens when there's more stuff coming out, not necessarily when there's like lulls. When there's lulls, I'll take things a little slower. I won't play any games at all. So,
yeah, I mean, I go through kind of phases. I mean, right now I am really into Assassin's Creed. Like, that's honestly kind of the only thing that I've been playing the past 2 days. So typically when I'm jumping back and forth between games, it's like something isn't, you know, taking all of my attention. I'm still enjoying the games I'm jumping back and forth between, but nothing has really like truly captured my attention when I'm doing that. Of course, like when Last of Us Part 2 came out, that's all I played. Like, cause that was very much a game that I did not want to be jumping back and forth between. You know, whenever the next Elder Scrolls game comes out, or what have you, a game like that I'm incredibly excited for, that's when I'll just, you know, hunker down and only play that game. Yeah. Yeah, during these lulls and stuff where I'm catching up on my backlog, or there's nothing, you know, no massive release that I'm, you know, completely sucked into, that's when I'll be, you know, jumping back and forth between games. I long for the day where I just have one game that I'm occupied to play and my entire backlog is finished, and in the lull time that we're in where I have nothing to play, I can sit down and just be fully entranced and focused on going through FF14. That is my dream. Because I want.
Do you think it's achievable to ever be at that point?
I don't know.
you?
That's what I strive for, though, Jacob.
Yeah,
I feel like
think
I
about that
can.
sometimes.
I feel like I can finish my backlog right now. Is I just want to finish the Assassin's Creed games and Persona Strikers. That's really all I feel like I'm called to right now. There's a few little things, like I have Little Nightmares downloaded, and that's kind of like a small enough game to go through whenever I feel the urge to.
Sure.
But yeah, for the most part, that's kind of what my backlog is right now. Is those games?
I've kind of just given up on the backlog. Like there are lots of games that I've missed, and if I might go back to them someday. Like Demon Souls is a good example of that.
Yeah.
Like I keep them in my mind, but I don't really have a list necessarily anymore. There's too many to keep on there now.
I mean, I wish I didn't care about trophies, dude. Like I think Control is a very good game, but I didn't want to play through Control, but I did because I wanted the platinum. So I wasted a few days of just running through Control to get the platinum, and I could have been playing something else. So my my trophy issue / addiction has affected my affected me playing other games. Like I should have totally been playing FF14 instead of Control, but
I would really like to hear your thoughts on Shadowbringers.
I know. I'm so far away though. I'm still in Heaven's Ward. I got to get through that. Storm whatever it's called.
Stormblood.
Yeah, that I got to go through.
Why do I know
that.
the names of these expansions?
I don't know. I've bought them.
Do I play it secretly?
I see the Stormblood splash screen every time I boot it up because I have not bought Shadowbringers yet. But yeah, anywho, I think that answers that question. That's my answer to the question.
Yeah.
Bojangles, next question. Sony is shutting down stores for the PS3, PSP, and PS Vita, boys. That and the recent shutdown of Xbox Live to transition to their new network has me feeling some type of way. For the PlayStation side, what's your fondest memory of the PSP, Vita, or PS3? I remember getting in trouble with my parents for some of the card arts in Metal Gear Acid on the PSP. Also, the first time booting up Daxter was an awesome experience on the slim silver PSP. Also, I need to know if you're caught up and without any major spoilers, are you guys filthy Maryland supporters? I don't even know what that means. Is that I'm assuming that is something I don't know right now. So I'm not going to read the rest of this because I am not caught up.
You learn about
we
it
just talked about it. Yeah. Yeah. All right, Garrett. Or Jacob, my bad. What are your fondest memories of the PSP, Vita, or PS3, if you have any at all?
I have none. I never owned any of those.
Mine.
So this one's easy for me.
Mine would probably be for PS3, because I got it one Christmas. Actually, I'm gonna have a memory for PS3. Not even owning PS3. So my uncle bought the PS3 the day it came out. He bought like the $600 60 gig version, and I think all he had to play on it was Resistance: Fall of Man. And I think he had like Modern Warfare as well. But anyways, the first time I ever played PS3 was playing Killzone 2. And that game blew my mind so hard. Just the graphics of that game, that I don't think I'll ever forget that, because that was just one of those experiences where I was like, graphics will never be better than what I'm looking at right now. Like this is incredible. And I think there was a good reason why I thought that, because even now, like to this day, if you look up Killzone 2, like that game still looks pretty freaking good. So that's definitely still a very impressive game. And of course we know Guerrilla, just their games have always graphically looked, good. Yeah. But yeah, in terms of me owning a PS3, I asked for a PS3 and Uncharted 2. I think that either following year or whatever for Christmas. And yeah, that game rocked my world. Uncharted 2 is an incredible game.
The only thing I really know about the PS3 was that I remember I went on a beach trip. And this is when we were living together in Duluth or whatever. And you and Garrett like spent the whole time we were gone just playing Last of Us. Like, I'm pretty sure that's all you guys did.
Yeah, pretty much.
Then I came back and you guys were like, dude, we just played like the best game ever. I was like, what?
Yeah, I remember that. I took off an entire week to play that game. What's hilarious is I took off the week before the game came out. It came out on a Friday, so I spent that entire week just playing Diablo on my crappy laptop waiting for the game to come.
That's funny.
So, yeah, hilarious. But I know I talked about it a little earlier, but man, I really hope Sony has a plan to address these marketplaces not existing anymore, because that is the Vita and PSP and PS3, I believe, are the only ways to download PlayStation 1 games. So,
oh really?
Yeah, once those marketplaces are gone, unless you have the dumb PS1 Classic, which I unfortunately bought when it first came out, emulate or have a OG PS1 with the disc, like, you can't play those games anymore. And that is really dumb.
It's a little bit sad. We're losing some history.
Yeah, and, thankfully, people have ways to play them, like through emulation and stuff, and which is why I support emulation, is to keep the history of these games, going and stuff. I don't, support you emulating like Switch games or newer games and not having bought them. I don't support that. But like old games that are unaccessible or immensely expensive on like the aftermarket and stuff, like, yeah, I support that. But even still, like, that's still a hassle to play those games for the most part. Whereas there just should be we should be able to access those old games on PlayStation 5. Like,
yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah. And I understand the whole PS3, the way the architecture of that system, the cell processing was like super funky, but man, there's gotta be if we can emulate that, like people are playing like the original Demon Souls in like 4K 60 FPS off PS3 emulators on PC. Like if we can do that, there's gotta be a way to play those games on PS5. Mm-hmm. So there's gotta be a way. And I could be completely speaking out of my lane, but I know you mentioned like Sly Cooper was one of those games potentially. Like what else would you like be worried about losing access to, you think? Is there anything on the mind? That's funny because Sly Cooper games are PS2 games, so you can still get this on PS2. But in terms of PS3, like that's a bummer that like downloading the original Demon Souls wouldn't be an option anymore. Even with us having the new one, that game could be lost on that, just on that storefront. I think the Vita probably is the most upsetting one because just the cost of the Vita and the cards themselves are just going to go through the roof.
So that means the only way you can play Vita games is if you have a cartridge.
Yep.
Right.
So any games that weren't released physically, gone.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. So I hope there's I don't in terms of the Vita, like I don't know if they could allow those games to be playable on PS5 or whatever, but yeah, I don't know. It's just I hope they have a plan for this, and they're just not, when they shut it down, they're just like, all right, well, it is what it is. I know Jim Ryan, I think, made a comment the other day saying like, I don't even know why you'd want to go back and play the old Gran Turismos because they look awful. It's like, to a point, I understand where he's coming from, but
same reason to go back and play any game.
Yeah, like nostalgic. It's just and yeah, it's just cool to have the ability to do so. So,
yeah. Anyways. I mean, obviously, as you can tell, this doesn't probably upset me too much, but I do sympathize with people that like PS3 or they got a Vita for Christmas one year as their first system, and they have a lot of nostalgia for it, and they have games that maybe they potentially wanted to get to and just never did. And like maybe they don't even hear about this news, and they're just like turning it on one day, and they're like, "Why can't I go to a store? Like, what's going on?"
Yeah.
But it's I mean, it's not like the worst thing ever. Like there's definitely really cool new games coming out now. But it's always sad if they don't like restore any of these games in any way. Like it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, that's kind of my mindset on it. It's not the end of the world, but I hope they have a way to have access to some of these games that could potentially be lost. So that's why digital media scares me, man. I like it, like the physical stuff. Even though half these physical games don't even function without patches right now. But yeah.
Are you getting discs for your PS5?
When I can. I do. I am more into like I can live without disc on PS5, like the Ezio collection and stuff. Like I'm mainly there's just so many deals on the PlayStation Marketplace when weekly. Like it's honestly surprising to me. So I pick up several games that way, and it doesn't bug me that I don't have a disc. But kind of the new releases and stuff, yeah, I like to get on disc. Also because my internet at my house is just awful, so that definitely helps with the initial process of getting a game up and running. But the only console that I'm like adamant about getting physical on is the Switch.
Me too. Yeah.
Just because of how simple it is to swap the cards out, and
I like the cases too. They're really clean.
Yeah.
I like the small little design. I think they're nice.
And also, like, I have an SD card in my Switch. I think it's like a 200 gigs or something. I don't know, but I definitely like keeping the internal, the one that comes with it, and my SD card as free as possible.
Me too. Yeah, I try to just keep like my save games, like save data on the SD card.
Yeah, for sure. So that is that question. And
thank you, Kyle.
Yes, thank you, sir. This is Baked Jake 23. Hello, boys. I've got a couple of questions this week, if that's okay. Yeah, we'll see about it. First one, have you guys been playing an awkward section of a certain game, God of War 3, we know the part, and a family member walked in on you? And second, more of a demand, thanks, Salamander. Confess a gaming sin to the community. Mine is I've played 5 Pokemon games and loved them, but I've never beaten the final 4 in any of them. Wow, that feels good to get off my chest. Just wanted to continue to support you 3 because I believe that you 3 deserve it. Peace, boys. Thank you so much, Big Jake. Have you ever had parents walk in on you on an awkward section of a game?
I don't think so. I think if it would have, I would have remembered it.
Yeah, same here.
It might be more likely with a show, maybe.
Yeah, same here. The only thing that I can really think of is I was playing Tony Hawk's Tony Hawk's Underground 2 and I believe like there was a curse word, something not even bad. I think it was like damn or something, and it happened to have been said when my dad walked into the room, and he did not appreciate it at all. And for several months, I was actually not allowed to play rated T games after that. Yeah. So I think I was in middle school at the time, like sixth or 7th grade. So yeah, that was a big. Actually, it might have been before that. I might have been in elementary school. It was on GameCube.
Mm-hmm.
So don't remember when that was.
Maybe. Yeah, GameCube would be like
I was in middle school.
Yeah,
I think I was in 6th or 7th grade.
Because I never had the GameCube, and I think that was my middle school years, is when I wasn't playing much games.
Yeah, because I got the Wii. When did the Wii come out? I was in 8th grade, I think, when the Wii came out.
That sounds right.
7th or 8th grade. Yeah, so it was close up to that point. But anyways, yeah, that's the only thing like that I can remember with a game, like getting me not necessarily awkward, but a parent walking in on me definitely got me in trouble with it.
I think the only story that I have somewhat like this is I used to watch a lot of American Pie movies. Remember those?
Yes, I do.
And I was probably watching them before I was supposed to be watching them. Let's say that. And
Yeah.
I got in trouble one time just because I had it on my TV and I thought everyone was probably gone to bed or whatever. You know how it is. And someone just comes in and knocks on the door and it's like in the middle of a part that's you probably don't want to be watching with someone else.
Yeah.
Especially when you're like, I don't know, 12 or something. So I remember getting in trouble for that, but it wasn't anything too serious.
Gaming sin, Jacob. Something that I can kind of relate to, I guess. I've played, I think, just about every single Kingdom Hearts game besides the DS one, Dream Drop Distance. And I've gotten to the final boss of 3 of those games and I've never beaten them. I'm literally
That's disappointing.
I've gotten to the final boss of Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, 3, and Birth by Sleep, and I've never beaten them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they can be frustrating.
I mean, that's the thing is it's not like the first game I died several times to the first boss and never beat it. The second game, I got to the final boss, never even fought him. Same thing with Kingdom Hearts 3. I got all the way to what's his face and never even initiated.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh.
I went through the whole desert area of the end of that game, got all the way to Ansem or whatever his name is, and never even initiated the fight. I just stopped playing.
That's sad.
So, yeah, I don't know.
I never played that DLC. What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Some fan I am.
Yeah, right?
I should go play that. I don't need to. I'll just watch a video.
It's kind of expensive. It's like $30 or something.
There's no way it's still $30.
Dude, I think it is. I'll check in on that. Probably another one of my gaming sins is this is gonna call me a phony, and I swear I've only done this for one game. I swear. Only one game. But way back in the day on 360, I tended to mod the saves of the games that I was playing, mainly Red Dead Redemption. My online character in that game had like the albino buffalo. I was like max level, completely cheated my way through that game, but I don't care too much about that. But there was a program where you could put your profile in this program and you could just auto unlock achievements. So I did it to one game. I swear, because if I did it to all games, like why didn't I just unlock every achievement for every single game? I still had some form of like dignity. I had dignity back then to where I still wanted to earn these. But there was one game where I don't know if I possibly even could get the remaining achievements because they were all online, or if I just didn't want to. But
is this a game you've talked about?
Not really.
That you didn't admit to?
I like this game, but like I said, this was a long time ago. Splinter Cell Double Agent on the 360. I got every single player trophy myself. I played it through on hard mode. I got all the endings. I did all the collectibles. I did all that. But I did use this program to unlock all of the multiplayer achievements for this game. So if you go to my profile, my Xbox Live profile, and go all the way down to Double Agent, you will see I have the 1000 out of 1000 gamer score. But I did not, I guess, legitly unlock all those achievements myself.
I can't believe you did that.
I know.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. That's the only game I did that to, though. So.
Once a cheater, always a cheater, Preston.
Yeah, I know, right? Dude, if there was a way I could have, like, hacked my console to get all the trophies for Valhalla, I probably would have done it. I was so done with that game. But yeah, those are my sins. What about you?
Probably mine is just having not played one of the best franchises of all time, which is going to change soon, which is Mass Effect.
Oh, yes.
I've been so negligent of that series that it's just kind of embarrassing at this point. So I'm glad that'll be changing soon.
I'm excited myself to play through them, but I really, really think you are going to fall in love with that series.
You still
For
think I should
sure.
start with 2?
No, 1.
1?
Yes,
Okay.
from what I've seen, they have overhauled 1 so much to where I think that a majority of the issues with that game, just with it not aging as well, I think are going to be, I just think it's going to be a much better experience than just going back right now and playing the first one. So yes, definitely start with
Nice.
1.
I'm excited.
I'm actually most excited to play 1 out of this collection, just because of those improvements, and it's just been such a long time since I played it.
Yeah. I actually have a Mass Effect Game Informer magazine on my coffee table over there, so I'm going to read it here in a little bit to get
Nice.
even more excited.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's probably my biggest sin. I don't have anything that I'm like,
It's a pretty big one.
ashamed of. I mean, I could say things like I haven't played Zelda, really, any of the Zelda games.
Yeah, you're not
I haven't played Breath
playing
of the Wild.
Ocarina of Time is a pretty big gaming sin, sir.
It is.
Yeah.
But I've missed a lot of games over the years. Like I got
When-
into gaming pretty later than a lot of people. So
Well, when Ocarina of Time or Wind Waker inevitably come to Switch, that will be your opportunity to play through them.
I'm definitely excited for, what is it, Skyward Sword?
Yeah. That's a
Even though
good,
it's
that's a
probably
good
like the
game.
one-
That game gets crapped on a lot, and I think it ultimately comes down to how well the controls worked for you. Kind of. It is a more linear Zelda game. So I definitely understand the criticisms for that. But it's like, oh, this Zelda game sucks. It's still a good Zelda game. Therefore, it's like, when you compare it to other games, it's still a really freaking good game. But, I mean, you're comparing it to some of the best games ever made. So I think that's why the game falls a little bit for some people.
That's understandable.
So shout out to Lyric, I believe. And if I am messing up the name wrong, but he, I believe that's who it is. I have to check before I give a shout out to this dude.
I think it's spelled
Is it
L-A-R-I-K. Lark?
Yeah, Lyric. My dude got me some Skyward Sword Joy-Cons, and I
nice.
very much appreciate it. So
Yeah.
shout out to you, dude.
How much were they?
I don't know. Like they're like,
Oh.
I don't know, $80, I think.
Ooh.
It's worth it, man.
Ooh-wee.
If Zelda's on it, I'm paying for it. So
Clearly.
speaking of controllers,
Yeah, we know you bought Hyrule Warriors.
I'm gonna finish that game. I just had my a package dropped off, and I'm pretty sure it is the Monster Hunter Rise Switch Pro controller.
Hey, but you didn't even get the game.
No, I've been needing a Pro controller, and I don't know if you've seen that one, but it looks so freaking cool. So
Send me a picture of it.
yeah, we'll do. So I decided to just to hop on that.
Nice.
I don't even remember pre-ordering it. I got like an email the other night saying like this is shipped, and like I said, I was like, I don't even remember pre-ordering this, but I'm glad I did, because I will need a Switch controller for the Switch Pro coming up. So
Yeah, if it exists.
oh, it exists. Final question from Francis J. Pete. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Sup, boys? If you could have one other Final Fantasy game that gets the FF7 remake treatment, which one would it be?
Having not really played any of them, I would like 10.
Really?
Yes.
That is not the one I would have picked.
What would you pick?
10 kind of annoys me.
Really?
I've played a lot of 10, and it's fine. One day I would like to beat it. But
I've watched like a walkthrough of 10, and I like
Yeah.
the characters.
see, Titus drives me crazy. I not the biggest fan of him, but I would definitely play it. My 2 would probably be 8, just because I think Squall is cool. And I know
8 is cool.
I know nothing about 8, so that would be a cool one to just jump into without knowing anything. But I would love to see 6 completely remade. I've never beaten that game, but I've played halfway through it when kind of like the game changes. I've gotten to that point. If you've played the game, you know what I'm talking about. but I would love to see just that game just modernized, because the pixel art in the original is just so beautiful with I believe Terra and I'm forgetting all the other characters. It's been a long time since I've played it, but I remember the story just being so cool in that game, and I would definitely love to see kind of more of the older sprite-based pixel art Final Fantasies get, completely remade with like the FF7 treatment. So
I'm with you there.
Yeah.
I never played any of those old Final Fantasies, but I think they are so cool. Like that, like seeing like where it started and where it is now, and
Yeah.
it sort of always followed the same formula. But I don't know, like back then they just seemed like more magical in a sense. Like, do you know what I'm talking about?
more
Like,
fantasy based.
yeah.
Like once it hit 7 and 8 were definitely less fantasy setted, or had a less, you know what I mean. And then I believe 9 went back to it. And then 10 is 10, 11 is the MMO, 12 is kind of more fantasy. There's still airships there's airships in 6. I don't know, 6 has mechs and stuff in it. It has like Magitech and stuff. But it definitely, anyways, needless to say, it definitely looks like we're heading back in that direction with 16.
16 looks awesome.
I still watch that trailer weekly. Yes, no joke. I just watched it a few days ago again. But that and the original Breath of the Wild release date trailer are two of my favorite trailers that have ever been released. I love them so much.
Yeah.
Dude, if you want to just get hyped out of your mind, watch the release date reveal trailer thing for Breath of the Wild. That is like
The original?
no, it was at the Switch event where they announced the March 3rd release date. I think it's the final Breath of the Wild trailer that was released. But
Okay.
man, that is just like injecting like adrenaline just straight up your butt, dude. It is so intense. Love it.
I might check it out.
Yeah, it's great. It will legit bring a tear to your eye, dude. It is so so epic.
Every time I think of Breath of the Wild, like I just have so much nostalgia. Like that game is just, it's hard to like describe how much fun I had.
Yeah.
Like I remember just talking about it on the podcast, but I still couldn't convey like the emotions that I was feeling just
That game
actually playing the game.
Is magic.
Yeah.
It's like that game just felt magical when I played it. I don't know. Breath of the Wild is one of those games that there's like a particular feeling with a game that is so rare, and I had it when I played like Fallout 3, where it was just like I was experiencing something that was so outside of like the expectations I had, and it typically comes with like these open world games that just feel so alive, and I like feel so immersed in. I get this particular feeling, and Breath of the Wild was one of those games. So
two things that are really nostalgic for me about that game is the wind for some reason. Like every time I hear the wind in that game, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is cool. And then like anytime I would run around with equipment, like just like the clinging and like the footsteps is just like so awesome. Like, does that make sense? Like just the audio in that game is just so incredible.
Yeah, I love the just when you're out at night on horseback, and there's just that piano that's just so chaotic. But then in the background on like strings, there's just the classic like Hyrule theme playing. Yeah, I love how minimalistic the soundtrack is in that game, but like when it hits, it's so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm so pumped for Breath of the Wild 2.
I am too, man.
Man, I don't even know. I'm just so excited to know what that game is, because we get so few Zelda like follow-ups. Like Majora's Mask was kind of one. The DS games like Spirit Tracks was a continuation of Phantom Hourglass. I think Phantom Hourglass was a continuation of Wind Waker, but I mean it was different console, different controls, but this is like the first sequel on the same console like a direct continuation, you know.
Yep.
As far as, you know, I can remember, I don't think we've ever had one. So that is just so exciting.
I don't know if a Zelda's ever sold this many copies. You know?
Yeah,
Like, I think this one was much more successful than any other one has ever been.
I believe so.
So it kind of makes sense.
At least I think initially out of the gates, who knows if like over time, I mean, Ocarina of Time came out in 98, I believe. So, you know, that game's been out for 22 years, 23 years. So don't know how many that sold, but yeah, I definitely think in terms of like the modern Zelda games or in the original launch period, Breath of the Wild definitely sold the most.
Yeah.
So I just hope we get all those games on Switch too, because I like Twilight Princess is amazing. Wind Waker is so good. You know, Ocarina of Time, of course, is probably my favorite game ever. Just having those all on the Switch would just be so cool. I know it has
Would be nice.
It has to happen. It's inevitable. But hopefully it is. There's no way those games won't be on Switch. There's no way.
I'm just saying, don't get your hopes up. Okay, like the first one we got was
my hopes. What? My hopes aren't up. I know it's gonna happen. It's inevitable.
Okay.
I'm telling you, it is a fact. It's just when they do.
I mean, so far they've done 2, so you know we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, but it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. But anywho, those are all the community questions. So we very much appreciate you guys continuing to send those in.
Yep. Thanks for writing in this week, Boaz.
Yes, sir. But so I think that'll do it for episode 259.
Yes, sir. I had a good time chatting with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully we can. I'm gonna be in town for the next 2-3 weeks before I have to go down to Fort Lauderdale for about 5 or 6 weeks. Second week of April. So yeah, that'll be fun. But until then, I'm gonna be in my home next couple of weeks. So hopefully we can put out some more content in the meantime.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Let's crank some podcasts out. Let's consider playing Ghost of Tsushima co-op. I would be down for that.
For sure.
And I'm always down for Overwatch or Diablo or something. You know.
Yeah, sounds good.
Everyone else wants to play.
Yeah, everybody check out our Discord as well, so you can see what we're doing. Maybe hop in with us, hop in with each other. Just continue to have the good discussions that we have on there.
We could play WoW together, Preston. You want to do that?
Yeah, dude. I'll get back to you on that one. All right.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Just
let me know.
Wait for me in Grog's Tavern. I'll be there.
Okay.
All right.
Grog's Tavern.
All right, cool. Well, again, thank you guys so much for continuing to listen to us, continue to support us. We very much appreciate it. And we will see you guys next time.
Yep. Have a nice week, everyone.
Bye-bye.